just gone there by ourselves, I don't think we would have been busted. I think we were busted because the goody two shoes came with us. Now, Jan was not a goody two shoes, but my other friends were. Christopher and Sen were definitely goody two shoes, even though Christopher was crazy. And I don't know that Christopher was the craziest person I've ever met, but like, but he wasn't like a sick individual or anything, but it didn't help. Like him getting I mean, we all got caught, but I was the one who took the rap for it, and him getting caught did not help. He ended up hating the high school as much as I did for the treatment and all this, and they expelled me, which didn't help because Christopher was my best friend at that time, and he understood that they had expelled me, and he was angry at them over that. And it was fucked up. I don't know why this stuff matters. It's just like that situation of hazing. I remember that like I came up with the idea, or it was LH, I'm not sure which one, but LH or I came up with this idea. Let's break into the high school, because we knew the main lesson books were coming up, and we knew that the girls were breaking into the high school. The most nerdy girls in the high school were breaking into the school at night. We knew they were because they told us. They were breaking into the fucking high school at night, so they could like finish their main lesson book plans and read what was inside the teacher's desk and perhaps do homework stuff, or if they forgot a project or something like that. And so we learned from the girls, the good girls, like the girls that never broke a law, still haven't broken any laws in their lives beyond smoke pot probably or whatever. But like the good girls in our class trained us that we could easily just waltz into the goddamn high school by popping the science door. So we did. And we were like, we have to do this. The good girls in our school have been burglarizing and breaking into the school for weeks. It was like there was like a stopgap or whatever you want to call it. The good girls in the school have been breaking into the fucking high school for months. And we were like, I can't believe Alyssa's passed now, but it was Alyssa's idea. She was the most honest, most wonderful, beautiful person I'd ever met. But she also wanted a perfect, A plus, GPA. So she was like turning in every homework assignment on time, and she was like, there was pressure and stuff. So she was like doing stuff like trying to cheat on main lesson books like the night before, because we were all procrastinators. All of us were procrastinators. The entire fucking school was. Our entire generation was procrastinators. So we would push off main lesson books until the night before, and the girls narked out that they had been breaking into the high school routinely for months. One day, Alyssa tells us at lunch that Alyssa's passed now because some dude fucking raped and murdered her. But I love Alyssa, and I love this fucking story. Alyssa fucking Heberton, of all people, informs me that she had been breaking into the school for months, and that all you need is like a little piece of metal and go to the science store and pop the lock. And that's it. You just shove a shunt. She was like, I shove a shunt into the lock. You can break into the school. And she was like, don't do anything bad, but if you ever need to like get something out of your desk or whatever. And I mean, we were all Harry Potter kids. I was like, oh, mischief managed. Yeah, I'll use that info. But we used it for evil. We broke into the school. We pissed on the floors in the bathrooms. We got drunk in the fucking big room in the back. We messed up the fucking computer room. We jacked the box full of checks because we could hear money inside of it. So we jacked the yearbook check box, which freaked out and got us a detective on our asses, because what got a detective on our asses was they thought it was a bunch of meth heads who broke into the school, because we broke into the science room and we got into the back room and we stole a whole bunch of crazy chemistry gear. Now, they thought we were using it to make meth, and they were scared that some Waldorf kid was making meth, some crazy, science fiction type, like, what do they call that, mad scientist kid, maybe like our friend C or something, was making meth or something. And so they got a private investigator to chase me down, because my prints were in the system. I was the only person that they could catch. So they stepped to me and they were like, we found out that you did this. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, I'll deal with it, I guess. And they were like, other people were there. And I was like, yes. And they're like, and I was like, yes. And they were like, who were they? And I was like, I'm not telling you. And this drove my head mistress She was quite like McGonagall. This drove my headmistress fucking crazy. She was like, "What? Tell me who was with you." And I was like, "Nope. I'm not narking on my brothers. I'm terribly sorry." I gave her a name. I was like, "You know, I'm going to tell you that blah blah did it." And I was like, "Go get him." I can't believe I did that to her. That broke her heart. Because she was like, "No, I have your prince, you asshole." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." My mother was sitting next to me at the Village Inn. Or was it the Village Inn? No, it was the Perkins. She had us go to the Perkins. And she sat down across from us at the table. And she informed us, after I lied, that she had my prince. And I was like, "Oh, great." And over some like pie and coffee, she informed me that I was expelled. And I was like, "Okay, that's cool. That's fine. I understand that. That's totally okay. I understand why." And I told her, I was like, "I'm sorry I did this." And she was like, "Why did you do this?" And I was like, "I don't know." Now, it took me 13 years, something, to understand why we were there, which was that on their watch, I was head over heels in love with my friend B. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew that I worshipped my friend B with all my heart and all my soul. And when I went to bed at night, I masturbated thinking of her. And I was just in love with her. And on top of it, she was with one of my best friends for 9 years. And then when she finally got out of that relationship, I was with one of mine. And it just didn't work out. And I asked her to marry me after I finally got single. And she finally got single. She informed me that 4 days later she was moving to California, and she asked me if I would drive her to California. And I was like, "Yes, no problem. I will drive you to California." And I got down on one knee in a Vegas hotel room, and I asked her to marry me because since I was 15 years old, I've been in love with my friend B. She was raped by a fucking Waldorf teacher, and so was my friend T. And that's my best friend's one of his best friends. You know, it's like, you know, it's his one female best friend besides his wife and his sister. And T, they've been like peas and carrots since they were like 14 years old or something like that. And he's been in love with her for a long fucking time. I'm sure his wife probably doesn't know, but I mean, it's not like real love. It's not romantic love. It's the love of a friend, you know, a lifelong friend. But no, my friend Sen has always been sort of in love with my friend T. She was statutory raped by our fucking typing teacher when we were 15 years old. And so I hated the school for this, but I couldn't verbalize that till I was 39 years old. I didn't know what it was. When she asked me in that fucking Perkins why we did what we did, I was like, "Oh, I don't know. We must be shitheads, I guess." I think it was my answer was something like that. I told her, I was like, I think we must be bad people, I guess." And my mother didn't like hearing that, I don't think. But I was like, I think I told her, I was like, "I must be bad people, I guess." But no. And in a way, I think my friend LH knew what it was, and he was down to roll with me, whatever the fuck I would get into my head. And I was like, "Yeah, let's bust into the goddamn high school." And they were like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, because the girls do it all the time. We can't have a stopgap. We can't have girls showing us up. The girls in our class, the goody two-shoe girls, have been breaking into the high school for months. We have to outshow them." And we did. We fucked up the high school. We busted a bunch of computers, and we stole like the yearbook checks. There was no money in there except for some change. It was all yearbook checks, but that got us in trouble because all those checks, all those parents, they wanted their checks back, and so the fucking school had to hire a private investigator, which is why I was even caught in the first goddamn place, because there wasn't that much damage. We didn't even do that much damage. It was like $3,000 worth of damage or something like that. We didn't bust the door to get in the high school. We didn't break any fucking windows. We didn't set anything on fire or anything like this. We pissed on some floors that they could easily mop. We we fucked up some walls and stuff that they could easily paint. And we stole some chemistry stuff that we threw away later because it was evidence in a court case. I mean, it could have been evidence in a court case, so we just threw it away. We were like, "No, there's nothing left from the break-in." When we realized that they were busting us for the break-in, we just threw all of it away that we took. We just threw it all away. We took it to various different dumpsters all over the city. All of my friends had cars, so it was just like, "Okay, everybody gets a piece of the the evidence, and if you care about your fucking freedom or your high school fucking diploma, take this fucking evidence and take it to some fucking dumpster and take a picture of it and get rid of it and shit and bring it back and show me that you did it. And they did. They all scattered to the 4 fucking corners of the city. And I got the chemistry set because it was the big thing that they were after, and I knew that she told me what they were after. So, and we destroyed evidence because none of us wanted any charges. None of us really did that much damage there. It's sort of stupid. We did not bust the door to get in or anything like this. You couldn't even really call it a burglary because we didn't really steal anything. We stole a science set, which was worth something. But I mean, you know, but I paid them $3,000 cash to fix it. So I mean, you know, it's like we paid for our fucking trespasses. So then, I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this, but I keep looking back at why we were there that day as to how people looked at us and why we did what we did and how disgusted my mother was and all this other stuff. But I mean, like, I know why we were there now. I didn't know till I was like 39. It was like this regressed hatred because 2 of the girls that we knew had been raped by the fucking teachers. Very simple thing. I could explain this to the Waldorf teachers now. If they were to ask me now, it's some kind of reunion. I can't go because I was expelled and kicked out of the community. But I mean, like, if I were to go back to that school and explain to them why we did what we did, it reminds me of that story they talk about that one dude who ran the Bitcoin scam or whatever. He was obsessed with telling them that he was from some prestigious private school. I'm obsessed with how guilty I feel over that break-in. But the problem is the anger was legit. Those teachers, they were lax in their security and their sec ops or whatever, and they didn't vet those fucking teachers, and those teachers slept with minors. And so I blamed my school for this, and I know this now, but I didn't know to tell my mother that when I was 17 years old. I can tell her that now, and she would probably tell me to shut the fuck up, and it doesn't need to be talked about. But I don't think she would. Yeah, I don't think she would listen. You know, she would just ignore that it happened and prefer to forget that it happened, right? But I mean, like, if I were to tell her why now, I think she would be a little bit more accepting of what we did, because I think we were angry, especially my best friend and I. We were angry at the school at the time. My other friend LH had been suspended, or I think he'd been suspended, yeah, for marijuana possession. My other friend never went to the school in the first fucking place and didn't love that shit. He just didn't love the school. He didn't care. It wasn't his school. He didn't give a shit. My friend Jan, he's dead now. He went to Waldorf until he was 8th grade, but then he left in the 8th grade because he just felt that maybe other schools would be better, and he was right. And we had a bit of a hatred issue with them. We kind of hated them a bit. I don't like admitting this. But I mean, when I look at the damage of what those rapes did to my friend B and my friend T, both of them experienced cocaine addictions, problems with cheating on their boyfriends and stuff, problems with, like, depression, problems with crying in bathrooms and stuff like this. We knew how bad B took what happened. I mean, we knew she would privately talk about how she would go to the parole meeting every 4 years or whatever it is. I have no idea. Damn, that guy fucking murdered me right quick. What was that? Camp Liberty. Huh. And she, you know, and I saw firsthand times when B would be hugging the toilet, puking drunk, right next to my friend A, who had a methamphetamine addiction. They'd be in the bathroom together, holding each other's hair and stuff. And I saw firsthand what the depression of those rapes did to some of my best fucking friends. Casey Harmagiddo, a cat theorist. Anyways, I think we're done here, and let's move on to Mortal and take a look at the dailies here. I realize I'm just standing here at Camp Liberty doing nothing. I'm not even, like, working on weeklies or dailies or anything. I need to just, like, go do something. But yeah, and so, yeah, and, like, you know, those girls, we saw firsthand what those rapes did to them for years. I've held my friend B several times while she cried to me about it. I've driven her to the parole meetings and had her privately tell me that she kept that asshole in jail for 24 years, you know? She wanted him out of the community.
and was taken to the hospital. He was
And
immediately
so
rushed into
because my friend LH was pissed because they suspended him for weed, and I was angry because B had been raped by the fucking Shiny Mountain teacher, and Sen was not angry. Sen's never angry. Sen was just there to support us. And it fucking fucked all of us up. That whole experience, the way they treated us, the reason we were there, the friends that were with us were sometimes considered to be some of the most goody two-shoe people in our community. So we knew we weren't totally bad because we had the angels rolling with us on that one. Two of those people were angels in their fucking community. They run like spiritual communities and shit like this. Two of the people in our break-in, our high school break-in, were fucking angels amongst men, you know? It is weird, and so we just didn't look at ourselves as that bad. The angels wouldn't have been with us there that day. You know, the two most honest kids in our school.
surgery because the hit from the towel had caused a testicular
The girls told us how to break in. The girls, like Alyssa Heberton, told us how to break in. Like, that's like Hermione telling you how to break into Hogwarts. You know she's not gonna fucking do that unless she knows that you're a good person. You know, she never would have given us that information in the first fucking place if she knew. And we did kind of break the trust a little bit. We did some bad stuff, but I mean, I paid full hand. I paid every dollar of all the damage that we did. It was taken care of. And so I just think about it all the time. I was like, it was the deciding high school thing for me was the break-in. But I mean, it really, the victims weren't even us. I mean, I was the victim, but I mean, the victims were not us. The victims were B and T. I could do a haul. You know what my favorite movie is of all time? It's it's Wes Anderson's camp movie. What is it? I can't remember the name of it. Moonrise Kingdom. Moonrise Kingdom is, I'll probably watch this tonight, just because my life was kind of a lot like Moonrise Kingdom. I even ran away like this at one time. And like being, Moonrise Kingdom. And I love Moonrise Kingdom, and my family treated me really well, just like the families in Moonrise Kingdom and stuff. And I had a good family growing up. I just didn't have like an extended family. And, and Moonrise Kingdom is my favorite film because it brings me back to a time when I was in love with a girl the way that this boy was in love with this girl, I was in love with a girl one time who had some dark things, happen to her.
Removed.
That's why we were there that day.
Incident, the chapter was put on disciplinary suspension and was later permanently banned.
It sucks to talk about your expulsion from your high school for breaking into the high school and causing $3,500 worth of damage as some sort of rape scenario fucking story where you're there to lash out at the high school in the names of some women who were harmed by teachers in the high school. Now, it's trite to boil it all down to that, but that's what the anger was. After 30 years of therapy and therapists and dealing with it and talking about it with therapists and stuff, I know what it was. It was this anger and this hatred over the way that these women that we loved were treated. And I wish I hadn't been expelled because I was one of the best friends of that school. I would have championed them. But they did expel me for breaking into the high school. I think about this all the time. Some men, they think about, 4 touchdowns in a single game. I think about the 5 people who helped me break into the fucking high school.
Which I just want to say this. This is one thing that we need to...
Like virgin suicides. And I want to do a movie about it because it was a cultural thing, breaking into that high school. It wasn't some shitty drunk stoner thing. They boiled it down to. There was a reason that we were there. And I still have not dealt with the anger. I still have not dealt with the anger of the mistreatment of C and B. Or sorry, C and T. Or sorry, B and T. Blah. B and T. Neither is my best friend. I'm sure he's helped T heal all of her life over this.
Say at least once in the video to make sure.
I know that I was there from the age of 16 until 25, something like 11 years. I was there for my friend B. helped her, nursed her through it. I told her, like, not all of us are like this.
The easiest displays of closeted homosexuals.
Oh, yeah.
What if we just got them hard and they like were fucking this thing in front of us? Come out and just say it already, you know? All right, everybody come over here and get hard. Let me put icing hot on your cock.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that
It's
just what-
weird. Just admit, you know?
Boys do, though. You just get naked.
That's just what boys do. They get naked and they
No,
roll.
no,
They put icing
I've
on their-
never been in a room with other naked men. I think beyond like swimming pools or something, you know, when they're like taking a shower and shit. They were like at the beach or shit like that. But no, like I've never like I don't remember my father's naked body. I don't hang around naked dudes.
balls in their hard cocks. And we women that look like men. We women that remind us of our dads, big fat broads. It's awesome. Is that not the case? All right, your punishment is you have to kiss my balls. Get on your knees. You have to kiss my balls. You have to drink my. Whenever they do it too, they're like looking down, like. Oh, okay, I'll drink your. The guy's like. Yeah, we have to find some bearded girl and have sex with her. Next time we have sex with some fat broad, we have to put Old Spice Fiji deodorant on her and blindfold and have sex with her. Kind of just sounds like you just want to emulate her being a man. No, I'm just saying we'll put like a wig and like a fake beard on her. We'll have sex with her asshole. What? Can't tell if you're uncomfortable.
No, the imaging is... I'm just imagining it.
It's a fantasy of mine. Hazing has resulted in hundreds of deaths, and many of them related to alcohol. One death at Pennsylvania fraternity even led to the creation of a law aimed at preventing future tragedies. In 2017, Timothy Piazza was a sophomore at Penn State, majoring in engineering. Business major. Engineering a business. Excited to be more involved on campus, he rushed with the local Beta Theta Pi chapter. He got a bid offer shortly after. The chapter he joined was infamous for a specific hazing ritual called the Gauntlet. This challenge involved making quick stops at drinking stations, ensuring that every drink was finished to get as drunk as possible. Unfortunately for Timothy, as he was completing the challenge in a drunken state, he lost his footing and tumbled down a flight of basement stairs.
And this always happens too. They're all wasted off 64 beers or some shit. When they do the actual like checking and they realize that the kid has alcohol poisoning, has died in his own vomit and stuff, they run the check and they realize that he's had like 64 beers or something like that, and his fucking hazing fucking shithead frat mates are making him like skateboard down the stairs and shit like this, and he's had 64 beers. He can't do that.
Head first. Fraternity members carried him upstairs to a couch and tried to revive him.
Yeah, and they're like,
liquor on him. And
liquor will wake him up. Liquor will wake him up. No, a hospital will wake him up. You guys killed him.
slapping in his face. Dude, wake up! Oh, these fucking lightweights, wake up!
I've done that. Oh yeah, I've been there. So for a long time, for like, I don't know, 2.5 years, from the age of like 15 till I was 17 and a half or something, if you fell asleep in the house first, right? It was okay by probably 4:15 in the morning or something like that. But if you went to bed first in my house, in my flop house, we draw dicks all over your fucking face with a fucking Sharpie. I mean that was the rule. Whoever goes to sleep first, they're getting dicks on their face with a Sharpie. And it doesn't matter if you got work or school in the morning. It doesn't matter. Don't fall asleep, bitch. Don't fall asleep. And that's a form of hazing that can kill somebody.
Fucking pledges, man.
He's like all contorted.
Yep. It's a form of torture. Forcing somebody to stay awake is a form of torture, especially when they've had like 30 beers. Forcing them to stay awake is frankly fucking cruel. They might actually get neurological damage and stuff doing that. But we did it. We were like, nah, you can't sleep, motherfucker. You can't fall asleep. Not until 4:30 or not until 4:20 in the morning or something like that. At that point, it's like we have to sleep or we're going to be fired or expelled from school or something like that, right? So it was okay at that point. But no, if you tried to fall asleep at like 2:15 in the morning, you're getting dicks drawn on your goddamn face. And it was like that for 2.5 years. I don't believe I have a picture of any dicks on my face. I don't believe it exists. I'm dead serious about this. I'll challenge my friends. They're real friends. They exist. Some of them are probably dead now. Some of them are probably alive now still. But I mean, like, knowing my friends, they're probably alive. But like, you know, like my band and stuff, they can attest. I don't believe there's a picture that exists. And that was the age of the cell phone camera pictures when everybody was taking selfies and stuff like this. I don't believe a picture exists of any dicks on my fucking face because I didn't fall asleep first. I prided myself on it. I'm like, I'm not falling asleep first. And that was not hard for me either. I'm that guy who doesn't fall asleep till goddamn 7 a.m. anyways. You know?
The other guy's like, "Put some Zaza on his face. I bet that'll wake him up." Sick. It's like have a dead body on the fucking floor here. Yo, we want to see those fat. We should have a fat girl. Yo, bring in the pig. I'm sure that.
We had so my crew had the frat handshake, right? My crew had the frat handshake, and we got it from skateboarders at the Denver skate park and stuff. When you would meet kids at Denver skate park downtown and shit, the real cool kids were at the skate park all down. They were like homeless and shit. They were like actually the cool kids. They made up the culture, you know? And when you met them, they would force you. They pretty much force you. They would force you to all right, slap it. You gotta go slap it, and then you bump it. And so everybody, and I brought that culture to my private school. And by the end of it, I realized that every kid in the fucking city, when they greeted each other, they were fucking slapping and bumping it. And I did that. I brought that shit. I brought that to my school. I brought it to East. I brought it to West and shit. Everybody brought it, but I mean, but I was like doing it first. I thought that bump handshake was a really good way, and I thought about it the first time it ever happened to me. I was like, that handshake's really powerful. I really liked getting it because I was like, man, it feels like I'm part of some crazy cool young youth club that transcends all of the transcends all of the cliques. If we can all fist bump each other and say what up and slap and fist bump, we can be friends no matter whether you're a mod or a rap kid or a metalhead or a fucking jock douchebag or a fucking nerd or any of that stuff, right? If any of us can do the fucking slap fist bump, then we can all be friends. And when I took this to the culture, they went nuts for it. And then I did this several times. That was one of the times I started a trend. I started fucking slapping and fist bumping everybody that I fucking met. Even my mother, I was just like, "What up, mom?" And I'd slap her and fucking fist bump her, and she would do it with me and shit. And like, you know, because I felt like it transcended all of the cliques. A real problem that I had in high school that I really talked about a lot with my band and on stage and with my friends and shit was that I hated cliques. I couldn't stand cliques. I told them, I told my inner circle and my fucking band and shit. I am so lucky to have found you guys because I don't do well with cliques and stuff because yeah, I'm a metalhead who loves Slipknot and shit, and I'll fuck the metalhead princess. I got no issue with that. But I'm also just as likely to slap on Tupac or fucking Skrillex or fucking, you know, Adventure Club or some kind of dubstep or something, or Portishead or Radiohead or fucking, you know, or Yes or Rush or like Gentle Giant or Can. And I began to realize that there's not enough clicks in the goddamn book for how many interests I have. You know, there's just not enough clicks in the book for how many interests I have. I don't know how else to say it. So I hated cliques. I was like, fuck the metalhead kids. I'll fuck the metalhead princess, but I'm not becoming a metalhead. Fuck the ravers. I'm going to fuck the raver princess, but I'm not becoming a fucking raver. And I did become a raver. I really believe in plur. I believe in plur more than God. Peace, love, unity, and respect. And that's what raving is. It's music and plur, which is peace, love, unity, and respect. And I really respect plur. I'll take the daily. Yeah, I'll take the daily for that. We're looking at the daily for Taskmaster for hunting. Water lizard is a no. Outlaw is a no. So, no, we're not going to take the outlaw, even though it wasn't outlaw like 2 days ago. I have a bandit task, but I already have a soldier task. This outlaw task is ending in 3 hours. I'm going to go back to 7 days now. I just wanted to check what the dailies were. All right. Yeah.
Real quick, man. Dude,
yeah, so the frat boys, they weren't cool like the skate kids. So they took the bump and the slap, and then they started adding like gay ass fucking snaps and stuff, and like shaking each other upside down and stuff. And I'm sorry, but it's like kind of weird when you're embracing this dude's hand and you're like thumb wrestling with him and stuff. It is gay. I'm sorry, it's sort of gay to be like snap, snap, clap, clap, thumb wrestle, shake, 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 duh, 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 duh. It's honestly like a little dance that you're doing. It's not gay, it's effeminate. It's effeminate. Doing the little, let's do a little choreographed dance now where we slap, slap, bump, bump, snap, 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 twist, twist, bump, like, right? And like, you know, and that's cool, but like that culture originally was a skateboarder thing. That was like a skateboarder, you know, Boys of Dogtown thing that got twisted into some kind of frat boy culture, fucking, what do they call this? Lad culture thing. Yeah, it's like a lad culture thing to fucking do all those little twist, thump, snap things. 21 Pilots showed it very famously in that video for Stressed Out. When he answers the door, his homie goes snap, snap, clap, clap, that and they do this long fucking choreographed like snap, like hand snap thing. And I'm sorry, that's cool and all, but I mean, like, you are choreographed dancing with another man. That's like what that snap stuff is, like all the snap bump, you know. But a good slap thump is good for anybody. I even did it with my mother and shit. A good slap bump, you know, is fine. You're not dancing with anybody. You're not making a statement. It transcends all the clicks. You can say, yo, you're cool. What's up? Slap bump it. And you go slap bump, you know. Now, I don't know what else to call it, but yeah. And so I adopted that culture and I brought it to 5 high schools and I greeted every male and every girl that I met with a fucking slap bump, right? And by the end of, I think it was like, I don't know, sophomore year, the entire city was forced to slap bump each other every single time that they met each other. And on top of it, we were required by nature to say, what up? And I wish I was kidding, but no, we were required. It was like a requirement. It'd be like, what up? You know? Like that, I hated it. It went from slap bump, which was cool because it transcended the fucking bonds, and it, you know, and you could do it to your mother. It didn't matter or whatever. But to this whole thing about like slap bump, twist, snap, snap, elbow, cock, wah! And they made fun of this. And if you recall, the first scary movie where he calls on the cell phone and he's like, what? Because that's what the culture was back then. That's what it was. They were making fun of it and they should have.
On it tonight, man.
So after a while, I was like, I'm never gonna slap bump anybody ever the fuck again. I'm never gonna call anybody bro ever the fuck again. I like lad culture. I think lad culture is cool from Australia because it is sort of anti-conformist, you know, but like in punker culture and stuff in America. But I still think it's a form of conformity to slap bump everybody that you meet. And I didn't know. When I was young, I just did it. I was like 15 years old. So I just did it without thinking about how cheesy it is. But by the age of 17, I was like, I don't ever want to slap bump anybody ever again.
He would wake up and stumble around only to fall and hit his head on the ground repeatedly. Dude, look at him. Yo, Bambi. That's his fucking name, too, man. You're going to fit in, Bambi. You're fucking cool. Oh, there he goes again.
So I have a story about that. So my friend AF, he was a banker when he was a kid. When he was 15 years old, he got a job at a bank. Run and save. And he was a stoner and a drinker. And he would come to our houses late at night with his Audi Quattro, because his father sold out Audis. And he would climb in the side window and he would smoke weed with us or bring somebody with him or bring a girl with him or something. He was a pimp motherfucker. He was the first one out of anybody that I knew of my age who ever owned a home. And he did that when he was like 28 or something because he's never been a loser. He took that bank job and he kept rolling it forward into an actual fucking, I don't remember what he does now, and I don't care about what these fucking yuppies do for jobs. If I have to care about your job, then you're a yuppie. I'm terribly sorry. Anyways, he was over at my house one night, and I fed him half a handle of vodka just because I knew he had work at fucking 6:45 in the morning. And I kept telling him, I was like, you know, you have a bank job at 5:45 in the morning. When he showed up in my window at like 11:45 at night, and he was like, will you smoke me out? And I was like, yeah, of course, dude. Just come in. Yeah, you know, whatever. Sure. Come, yeah, come. We'll play some Soul Calibur or whatever. And so I smoked him out, and then I fed him half a goddamn handle of vodka. Now, I mean, I'm not proud of this, but I did. I gave him half a handle of Skull. I just gave it to him. I was like, here, you got to drink this with me. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, you got to drink this with me. We're 15. Drink this with me. What are you talking about? Drink this, you know? And so he was like, okay. And so I got him fucking wasted. So then at 5:15 in the morning, he had to drive home to take a shower to get ready for fucking work. And he did sleep for like 4.5 hours. So I believe he wasn't drunk driving, but he was definitely wasted and bombed and out of it because he was young. And I'll never forget it. He was standing there talking to me and saying goodbye. He was about to hop out the goddamn window, which was like 9 feet up or whatever. It was kind of crazy. I had to boost him. And he was about to hop out the window and he was saying goodbye. And then all consciousness left his body except for his heart beating. And I watched a man crumple who was just a second ago speaking to me very normally while he was just standing there. And then his consciousness left his body and he went blackout drunk pretty much like right in front of me, and he hit every goddamn shelf on the way down with his head. And I had a shelving system with my mother insisted on a shelving system, so I had this terrible shelving system made of wood that I really didn't like, that I didn't use a whole lot, and like and there was shelves all the way down. And before I could do anything, because I was wasted too, remember it was like 4:45, my reaction time was, or no, later than that, it was like 6:15 in the morning, and I had just slept for 3.5 hours, and my reaction time was like nothing. And so he hit every shelf on the way down, and I heard the clunk, 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 and watched as his head hit every shelf on the fucking way down as his consciousness left his body. It was just like he was passed out on his feet. And then he went clunk with his fucking forehead. He went wham, 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 wham on 4 shelves on the way down. I'm sure he did some brain damage. I'm guarantee it. I'm sure he did some damage. I'm not proud of this, but I mean, he was not standing close to me either. I was like 4 feet over because I don't stand close to dudes. They're not girls, you know. I don't stand close to dudes. I was standing there over there by my thing, and so I couldn't rush in time to reach him. He passed out. He crumpled, and it was like maybe a second before he had hit all shelves, all the shelves on the way to the floor with his temple. It was so fucked up. It was like wham, 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 wham. I'll never forget it. And it was some of the worst damage I've ever seen a human do to themselves. I've seen a couple of really bad wipeouts and stuff, and I've seen some ACLs break. But yeah, watching him smack the fucking shelves on the way down. Jesus Christ. And that's what it's like for these frat boys. They drink 64 beers. They get harassed for fucking 7 hours until 4:45 in the morning or something. And that's when something bad happens. Like hitting every shelf on the way down. Now, he didn't need to drink half a handle of Skull. And I'm sorry that it was Skull vodka AF, but I mean, that's all I could afford, and that's all I've ever been able to afford. I got a bottle of Skull vodka on my goddamn counter right now. That's all I've ever been able to afford, whatever. So, you know, yeah, I'm sorry I fed you half a handle of terrible Skull vodka 3 hours before he had to go to work. Now, he went to work. He got up, he stood up, he had a terrible red mark on his fucking forehead that his boss asked him about like an hour later. He was like, there was alcohol on his breath, and I think he took a taxi to work from his job, or he would have been busted for drunk driving at 6:15 in the morning or whatever, because he was too drunk to drive. And then he went to his job and he kept his job. And he told the story about hitting the shelves on the way down to the floor all of his life, and I have too, because it was fucking terrible. Watching him, I was awake, he wasn't. I watched him go bam, 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 and it was like 4 temple hits with all of the weight and force of a falling drunken body, just going smack, smack, smack. No arrest motion or anything like that, just full blown smack, full unabated, just smack into that wood, those wood shelves, and it was some of the worst things. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Soldier, where's your other woodland?
My mother tells me all the time that of all my friends, she respects him the most. And I think about and when she says this, I think about the cocaine addiction, the women, the smacking the 4 shelves on the way down. And everybody's got their wild times when they're young. We don't judge you for this, right? We don't care about this. But I mean, I don't respect him the same way that she respects him. It's hilarious. Because of stuff like that. Now, I love him and I really do respect him. I don't have an issue with this guy. He's one of my best friends. I haven't seen him in like 20 years, but he's still really a good friend. And like, you know, I have no issue with him at all. But I mean, like, but I remember the shelves on the way down. When every time she mentions of all your friends, he was the big winner. I was like, oh yeah, shelf boy. And she's like, what does that mean? And I was like, oh yeah, nothing. I'll be like, oh yeah, shelf boy, huh? Yeah, shelf boy was your favorite, was he? She's like, what's a shelf boy? And I'm like, I don't know. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. Fucking shelf boy is your number one, huh? Oh yeah, he's real sexy, isn't he? Shelf boy.
Yeah,
I've done some dumb shit way worse than that, but I mean, I don't think I've dealt some cranial damage like that.
Timothy had suffered a major brain bleed. And
yeah, they all
ruptured
suffer
spleens
major
because he
brain bleeds and stuff like this. It's crazy.
falls, and sadly, he died from his injuries.
Okay, guys,
Those around
it's
him-
time to drink some more. Yeah, let's drink some more. My stepfather passed. It's a Saturday night. I'm gonna drink in his memory, and I'm young. I'm single. I don't have any women telling me what to do or anything. You know, so I'm just gonna go get drunk. I'm drunk and I'm gonna stay drunk and I'm gonna drink for my stepfather. I'm gonna drink in his name and I'm gonna love him and treat him like I respected him, and because I do. I didn't like him, but I respected him and loved him, you know. I don't like the right wing. I don't like men who use women. I don't like men. Well, he didn't use women, but he definitely viewed women as like basically, I would say, I don't know. I don't want to put words in his mouth at all. He viewed them as traditional, like they're like, I don't know, like their roles should maybe be traditional. I don't agree. And I find reasons to dislike people that I love. It's something that I've always done. It's unfortunate, but it is true. Oh, I remember now. I was like, where's my drink? It's right here. Yep. You have some. Today, we are having some vodka of the gods. Vodka of the gods. Yeah.
Shutting.
I think I'm too drunk for 7 days, and I'll just use his resources. I think I'll probably play Fortnite for the rest of the evening, just because it's, mindless. And I like the new season. I would like to get some experience with it.
And failed to call for help in time. All right, I guess we'll call the cops. Hello? Dude, even the Huzz and the Zaz's not waking them up. This is, like, fucking serious. I'm bummed. I think he's dead. Following his death, 19 members were charged with hazing, involuntary manslaughter, furnishing alcohol to minors, and tampering with evidence. All right,
They're all hungover because they're still fucking raging.
Put him in the closet. Throw him back down the stairs and we'll say that he died then.
Why do you guys think that partying is this thing that should be respected if you do it all the time? I don't think it is. It should be. Oh, some kind of Fortnite thing. Oh, reload. Fortnite and Squid Game did reload. Okay. Nice. Updated Blitz Royale Avatar State Unleashed. What is Blitz Royale? Oh, match time is 5 minutes. 32 players load into a smaller map with the same random medallion. No reload spawns. Pick up a reboot card or pay with bars. Otherwise, the elim is permanent. Rack up elims to survive storm circles to increase blitz level. Raise blitz level to get powerful boons and weapons. Get more medallions from gold supply drops and more boons from gold chests. Check the blitz medallions and boons button. Fine tune for mobile. Blitz Royale will be available until July 15th. I don't think I'm going to do that. No, I want to look at other stuff. What else do you have? Man, this game is just insane. Lego Expedition. Fortnite Expeditions brings PvE adventure to the LEGO universe. Team up with fellow Academy students in 4-player cooperative LEGO Expeditions missions to take down forces of evil. Load into Supernova Academy and hit the mission terminal to join the battlefield alongside fellow heroes in training. Ace the missions, earn hero XP, and become a new kind of hero. Okay. Let us do 0 build. I could do unranked reload. Why is there just as many ranked reloads? That's insane. Reload doesn't seem to pull the numbers. But right now, reload might be pretty good. Squid grounds, huh? Okay, let's try reload once, and then I'll go to no build.
And put him in his bed. Maybe he died in his sleep. That'll work. Do you see? That's why you're an engineering for business major degree. I can't wait to own a car wash one day.
Whenever I used to drink, I used to fall down from laughing. I'd laugh so much that I think I'd lose oxygen and black out. Kind of like one of those, those goats that they fall down when they get scared. That was me with drinking.
Right. Were you a frat or is that just a drinking story? It's just cool, just letting people know. Okay. Timothy's death made national headlines around the country as hazing deaths were becoming a more prevalent issue. So, the Timothy Piazza anti-hazing law was passed to make hazing-related deaths a felony offense. Fuck, dude. Okay, people fucking ruin this country, man. It's probably some fucking fat broad who made that. So stupid, man. I hate this. Alcohol is probably the most common thing found inside fraternities. It's something that is easily accessible to frats and deeply ingrained in the culture. So, let's dive into the world of frat parties. Attending parties is an essential part of the college experience. You gotta fit in, you wanna socialize outside the class, you gotta go to parties. And when going to parties, make sure you choose the right one, or else you could cost you an arm and a leg. Or in the case of 22-year-old Karen Huber, the tip of her finger. That isn't nearly as...
That's not, yeah.
While attending a frat party with her boyfriend at the University of Texas, the president of the frat and her boyfriend got into a fight after Karen's boyfriend was caught pouring beers on other attendees. Ew, the party foul. Karen attempted to step between the two
reload
men to
solo.
break up the fight. And as she did, the fraternity president punched her in the face, grabbed her hand, and bit off the tip of her...
I didn't know you could reload solo. Nice.
Time out! You can't go fucking werewolf on Karen! Oh, fuck. Babe, are you okay? She's like, blood all... Oh, God! After her wounds were treated, the fraternity president was arrested and was facing 10 years in prison with a $5,000 fine. However, the two parties settled for a payment of $440,000 to Karen, and the frat was shut down. People are not the only thing you have to worry about at these parties. College mascots are beloved symbols that represent the school and help boost pride among the student body. However, at UC Santa Cruz, two fraternity members carried out a deadly attack on their school's mascot. In 2003, the MTV show Fraternity Life was filming an episode on the Delta Omega Chi chapter at UC Santa Cruz. During filming, two unnamed fraternity members crept onto the main campus early in the morning and stole the beloved school koi fish.
What?
The university received the fish as a gift in 1995 and was beloved by all who saw it. So, she went missing. Students were devastated to see their pseudo-mascot missing. But the mystery of the missing fish didn't last long, as the two members who stole the fish were eventually confessed to their crimes. But the fish was talking to them. Something happened. They're like looking at it. It has a soul, dude. We have to give up. According to the confession, they went to the pond with a rake, using it to hit and scoop the fish out. After they had the fish, they took it back to their frat house where MTV was filming a kegger party. They then allegedly threw Goldie on a barbecue grill and ate her. Yeah, they're all falling. It's like not post-nut clarity. It's like they were like, I was just hungry. I wasn't using my mind. I was fucking hungry, man. Low blood sugar. You know how it is. After hearing the confession, students and staff were outraged by the grotesque death of their beloved fish. And in the end, the two frat brothers were charged $650 to replace the fish they killed. That's it? To be fair, that's like a big deal.
It's your mascot.
If it's your mascot, you know what I mean? I think that's weird. It's like killing a fucking member of the school. I mean, it's not a human, but still. It's like if it was like a goat. We're the fighting Rams or whatever the fuck it is, and you kill that. Was that not a...
It'd be one thing if they took it and it died, I guess, but they fucking ate it. I feel like...
I mean, they literally just... I bet you they didn't cut it up. I bet while it was alive, they threw it on the grill. For the fish, it was probably a pretty fucking gruesome death, I'd imagine. The parties that fraternities throw often cause issues for college campuses, but sometimes that doesn't satisfy the chaotic nature of certain members. Some members go a little further and pull insane pranks. Fraternity pranks have long walked the line between tradition and trouble. Often framed as harmless fun or brotherly bonding, these stunts can range from silly to sinister, and sometimes they spiral into serious consequences. Devin Nodis was a new pledge for the Pi Kappa Alpha chapter at the University of Southern Mississippi. For his initiation period, he was tasked with a scavenger hunt that took him all over the city of Hattiesburg, including the zoo. And at the zoo, Devin and other pledges were supposed to break into the zoo after hours, take a picture of the Chilean flamingo, and get the hell out of there. But Devin had other plans and wanted to prank his brothers. At 1 a.m., he broke into the zoo and hopped into the flamingo enclosure, stealing one of the birds. He then took it back to the frat, hoping to get some laughs, but instead was scolded and instructed to return the bird immediately. When the zoo reopened, staff counted the flock and noticed that one of the birds was missing.
What?
Investigate. The CCTV footage showed...
Get this shit off my screen and fuck me over so many times.
Which eventually the bird was found around 8:30 a.m.
Can't you fix that, you fucking piece of shit, software developers?
Another flamingo also died from presumably attacking Devin during the heist. I think that it was probably attacking him, and then he probably was like,
what?
And punched it. Devin and his fellow pledges were quickly identified from the CCTV footage and charged with
This was
trespassing, grand
terrible.
larceny, and 2 counts of animal
Get me
cruelty.
out of
He
this.
pleaded guilty to these charges and was sentenced to complete the regimented inmate disciplinary program. In addition to his sentencing, the fraternity chapter he was pledging for was placed on probation due to his actions. Just want to say real quick, fuck you, Devin, you piece of shit. Yeah, but I'm a business major, majoring in business. I'm gonna start like an animal rescue. I've learned. Full circle for me, Devin. That's called character development for me, Devin. Fraternities were originally founded to represent morals and academics among societals on college campuses. But over the years, the culture has nearly devolved into near-complete degeneracy. Dangerous hazing rituals, deadly pranks, and destructive parties are all staples of Greek life and are part of the reason why so many young men decide to join. It's fun! What can I say? It's fun. I've never been, but, I mean, I get to get drunk? Woo! If you ever find yourself walking on a campus near the fraternities, just know that outside of the house might look nice, but inside could be filled with unimaginable horrors. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Yo, who wants to haze the Papa Meat House, man? Me! Business majors only. My dad owns a Toyota dealership.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar, and I want to do something really positive
Thank you,
today. And
Papa
I
Meat.
want
I'd
to
like to
raise
sub
some
to your channel.
awareness for something that is. Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar, and I want to do something really positive today. And I want to raise some awareness for something that isn't just a video game or some goofy story on the internet. Now, I've been on YouTube for like 10 years, and you've probably seen me cover a lot of dark sides of the internet, specifically in things like deep web browsing, where obviously, I covered red rooms, the possible existence of them. But there was a lot of things that I cut out of deep web browsing. Sometimes on those recordings, or throughout that entire experience when I was doing it regularly on a weekly basis, there were times where I was sent illegal things, okay? Now, again, I'll let you put your mind as to what illegal. Maybe it could be gore, maybe it could be anything. And generally, it was always met with, okay, better contact the police, better send them the evidence, better send them all of this chain or record, and try to move on with my life. It is incredibly emotionally distressing. Now, obviously, I chose to make content on the deep web. I get it. But what about some YouTuber that just likes to make videos on video games? Now, this is a YouTuber that I like called Super Bunny Hop, and I've been watching this guy probably since, before the deep web browsing days. I am a fan. I watch him. He covers a lot of critical close-ups of video games, Metal Gear. Now you can imagine why I watch the guy. And, he's somebody that is kind of a sporadic uploader, and he's been missing for quite a while, okay? We're talking about videos years ago, audiobooks. And then, of course, a couple, days ago, I'm like, oh, he uploaded an actual review video. I watched it. And then the next one was my HOA sent me gore photos after complaining about the Airbnbs. That title alone, when it hit my phone, felt like a fucking flashbang going off. And I was like, oh wow, big fan, you're not even subscribed. I want to address an allegation like this. I'm also not signed in. I have a virtual machine for my YouTube channel so I don't get hacked. Pro tip right there. But anyways, I wanted to see exactly how it was, and thankfully George just gets right into it without the yaponomics. Watch this.
My HOA sent me gore photos after complaining about the Airbnbs. There they are. 3 pages of gore photos, 3 pages of death threats, and 3 pages of legal threats.
Holy, I should not be laughing, but to be honest with you, I'm not even just completely talking out of my ass. This might be one of the most friendliest HOA organizations that I've seen so far, unironically. Now, you might be wondering, what could have brought all of this, Muda? Why would they send this, gaming YouTuber something like this? Why would they even go? Apparently, he made an actual public comment somewhere around April 29th of 2025 this year, and it's because of this he started to actually get crazy death threats. So I wanted to read some of these death threats that he provided over here just to read, and they were a little unhinged, okay? One rando user goes, I was hired for one reason. To make sure you have a good night's sleep, I will then go back to my country. Just like some dark web assassin just fucking sending you the scariest shit possible. After that meeting, you are history, bitch! Either you leave on your own accord or we will make you leave by any means necessary. That is a promise. Are you even in the country legally? Time for you to John Pablo Escobar. This whole condominium hates your guts. Watch your back. Oh man, that is some 4chan levels of responses right over there. And of course, you can go further into this. You brought this on yourself. No one will miss you. If they can find, I assume they can find your body, is what it is. A lot of these are kind of, you're labeling these individuals as possible illegal Hispanics. I don't know where that kind of comes from, but I don't really think it even matters. Whether you're legally in the country or not, the fact that gore was sent alongside what seems to be legal paperwork is distressing enough for me, okay? That's just the most unhinged shit that I've seen, probably on my entire time in YouTube. Made one complaint Yeah, and all of a sudden, this guy gets it. And to be fair, Super Bunny Hop's a guy that I think is, generally a very good soul. He's a very like relaxed person. Okay, this guy is about as laid back, relaxed as you can imagine. When you're sending, basically Mr. Rogers on like gaming YouTube shit like this, there has to be a special place in hell for you. Okay, in fact, if you never believed in hell before, you probably want to start believing now because you have to be a real unhinged evil fuck to do this in the first place. Now, again, a lot of this is an allegation, not a statement of fact. I don't want to get, I can handle legal threats, okay? But sending me, actually, I can handle death threats. I can handle gore sent to my house at this point. I probably can't handle the legal threats, okay? It would just add extra stress to my life. But that's not the point of the video.
Ninth public comment made at City Hall is mentioned. And in every one, including those sent to the elderly, there was no real disclaimer nor warning about the gore photos. If you were reading through this packet, you're suddenly hit with an eyeful of emotional distress. And in a lot of contexts, doing something like that counts as a felony, so please let me get these out of my sight. So, police reports have been filed, lawyers have been contacted, and I am already well in the habit of documenting everything. Unfortunately, I gotta keep details fairly lightweight and the video short. The exact logic behind why in the world they thought this would be a good idea will be a better question answered in court.
Now, obviously, this is a good thing to do. A lot of people sometimes make videos about this kind of shit when something happens, instead of going to cops and lawyers, which is, again, the dumbest thing that you can do. Generally speaking, anytime I've engaged with, cops or anytime I've retained, legal stuff, I've always completely stayed quiet on the matter, and that's, again, that's just for your safety, that's for your case's safety. And generally, once you want to, expose the shitty things to the world, you can do that after your time in court. Now, obviously, lawyers are pretty expensive to hire, and George is not somebody that is, sitting on millions of dollars, okay? This is not somebody that, has made, crazy life-changing money. This is just somebody that's a humble little YouTuber, and, he's got, his own thing going on, but unfortunately, one of the things is he's got an elderly mom, so obviously, the amount of money required to take care of your elderly parents is, again, going to be an attack on finances, and that's just a reality that many people have to live with. So he started this GoFundMe, and I know that endorsing GoFundMes can be a little bit of a hazardous guess, but honestly, I don't ever expect George, of all people, to be scamming people, and if he is, God, man, the world is even darker than I ever imagined. But yeah, anyways, he started this GoFundMe to help him, pay back some of the actual, savings that he had to drain out, because some of the actual payments that this HOA was charging him was insane. But also, he wanted to raise money just so that they could fund the lawyers, in this case, to fight against these fucking assholes. And of course, one thing that always blew me away, too, was when he actually showed some of the receipts of what this organization was charging him. Allegedly, of course.
Now to kill this guy. fuck did this guy go? He pussed out. Fucking pussy. Fine by me. He cost me some armor. I don't know. I could get some fuel, I guess. Dude, there's some gold and stuff. Did he leave? You know, I would prefer to have 2 rifles over the rocket launcher. But I'll take the rocket launcher over the boom fist because it's probably more effective. Someone's here now. Sorry, a lot of stuff happening. Boom! Boom. Boom! Boom! Fuck this guy. I don't care if he's AI. I'll still kill him. Oh! Oh! I killed him, though. I killed him. Oh. Boom! 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 Take it, yeah. What the fuck is that? Oh, is that? I mean, it is cooler than the fucking rocket launcher. The rocket launcher is cool. And I don't have any heavy armor, so... Maybe that guy over there has more charge? I don't know. Do you have to reload these things? I have 10 kills. Yeah, I don't really see anything that I'd super need. I don't know how well the rocket launcher really serves me. Like, compared to, say, like, this SMG, I don't really think the rocket launcher serves me this late in the game. And I would prefer to have the SMG over that guy and the armor over anything else. This car is fucked up. I gotta get it fixed. There's a fresh car. There's a chest inside the building and a chest right there. I don't need chests, but how's my ammo? Ammo's great. I don't really need to worry, but... yeah, I don't really know what could be better than this. I can sit here for a while. Fuck the sound. I don't really care. Let's go look at my display. I meant to do this at the start of the game. Motion blur should be off. I'm on TAA, which is really bad. Yeah, I want NVIDIA DLSS, 3D resolution, epic, everything apply. There we go, much better. Ah, yes, game looks good. I love DLSS. Let's, since I'm running the GeForce Now, let's do Oh, I guess I can't. Oh, Lumen or GI. Lumen or GI. Lumen. Where's Lumen? Post-processing. Lumen. Oh, reflections. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, so I have to change the nanite when I die. Okay. It can look even better. Okay, gotta move now. Okay, guys, 6 left, 10 up, 6 down. Wish me luck. Five. Oh, it's gonna get tight. Five left. Oh. Thank you. It's not gonna work for you, is it? But I'll take it. This guy's a pussy. Thank you. What? Thank you. Fun fight with him, but I'm not gonna push it. He can run off if he wants to. He'll die in the end. He knows it. He's a pussy. Or she, maybe? I don't know. Whatever. Oh. What is this? What is that? What? No. That. Take your fucking garbage. How is everybody still alive? I hurt that guy real bad. How is he gonna get out of this? Oop. Oh! Go! Fuck. Ooh, I need that. Touche, bitch. Ooh, full health. That's not good for him. This mag's loaded, right? Yeah, all the mags are loaded. It's gonna matter for this fight. Wish me luck, guys. I don't think I was supposed to do this good, this fast, but okay. Sooner or later, they're gonna show. Sooner or later, they're gonna show, and I'm gonna run them over. There they are. That's a bitch. No! What was that? Go, 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 go. Oh! What? DMR, okay, well. Fuck was this? DMR through the window, okay, Mr. whatever the fuck your name is. Jesus Christ. How are you missing him and you pegged a shot through the fucking window and one-shot me? What? Yeah, fucking... yeah, fucking shotgun monkey. What was that? You're gonna die right here, aren't you? Ugh. Do you hang outside storms often? None of that hit. Oh, okay. You're scared about that bush? Okay. There you go. Oh. How's that guy still alive? I must have done 700 damage to him. How is he alive? I did so much damage to this fucking asshole. Look, he's gonna win. No, wait, maybe not. How are you missing him, but hitting me perfect with the DMR first shot? The fuck was that? How are you missing? Fucking aim. How did you hit me? You suck so bad at aiming. How did you hit me? Some kind of auto aim, I guess. The auto aim killed me. You're gonna die. You're gonna die because you're bad. Right here, you turn your back to him to run. You got 4 health. You're an idiot. He's gonna kill you. $135. This shit is so dumb. Somebody shoot each other. Wow, I wouldn't have pegged him for it. Whatever. Good job, Dodge Man 10 or whatever. Oops, no, keep playing. No, wait.
Attempts at charging us special assessment fees, and then there was this $3,000 capital contribution bill, which is usually part of a condo's closing costs. With this sudden, unexpected spike in bills, I simply cannot make ends meet like this.
And this is a reality that I think plenty of people have to deal with. So again, regarding this organization, he led to an actual few news articles about this area. So for instance, condo owners in that area were actually afraid of losing their home because of Airbnb investors. So according to this one news article by Fox, for instance, right over here, one person says she and her other condo owner said Airbnb and other STR investors are taking over the downtown high-rises and
Wow.
allegedly allowing drugs, prostitution, and wild parties to run in the building. And they're forcing many of the owners out with these exorbitant homeowner association fees, which is not something
They're like
again,
party
that really
kids.
fucking shocks
They're like party kids, yeah.
me. This is also the same place that's apparently getting sued by, I believe, a fire insurance company for alleged fraud. And you have to be a special type of fucking disgusting company for me to even think, you know what, in this case, the insurance guys are good. Now, obviously, the address that, George provided, this is a pretty downtown part of Atlanta, a big city, okay? This is a huge area. So, yeah, this doesn't really shock me. For anybody that doesn't know, Airbnb is probably one of the worst things to happen with, big cities. If you ever wonder why, the apartment you want is super duper expensive, it's probably because there's a group of assholes that come in to buy the shit out of all the apartment units they can and basically, put them out on Airbnb, okay? Short-term rentals, people come in and out. Now, obviously, this is a pretty unhinged situation that George is in, which is why I want to talk about it because, honestly, I just can't believe this happens, okay? I can't believe things can actually get so bad. Now, obviously, all this stuff will be brought up in court if it goes down that road. And the thing is, when you send, allegedly gore, death threats and shit over people speaking up against terrible ownership practices, that alone should be, that should fucking ripple, that should make you at least somewhat empathetic and understandable in these situations. Now, again, obviously, buying a home is not a reality for many people, and this is going to get a little bit too real, but I have a lot of friends who, have just given up the idea of buying a house. When I ended up getting my house, to give you an idea of how expensive my place was, and I don't live in the city of Toronto, I live, on the outskirts of the GTA at that time, that house, it cost me like $700 and probably, I think, $10,000, something around that ballpark. Now, obviously, $710,000 is a lot of money, okay? And you have a lot of parents who are like, back when I was a kid, I ended up getting a house too. And then you look at when they had a house and the cost of the house then, and even adjusting for inflation, it was still way less than $710,000. Now, obviously, when you're somebody young, what happens then is you have to pay a higher down payment because you have to worry about things like mortgage insurance and all this other shit. And of course, banks, especially A-lender banks, tier 1 banks, probably don't want to deal with somebody super young, so you have to go to a B lender, which puts you in the ass even more, okay? Just the process of buying a home, you might as well bend over like this, okay? Just spread your ass and prepare to get in every conceivable way, okay? There are fucking Thai prostitutes, okay? All right, prostitutes in Bangkok that get less than you when buying a home, okay? That's pretty much the grim reality. I'm sorry to say, that is how it works. So, you have to raise a certain amount of cash. I probably raised, I want to say, a down payment of, it had to be over 120 maybe, 130,000. And, that money was pretty much all the money that I had at the time, basically saved up over the course of working, basically since I was 16. All the money in my account just added up. A lot of money went in there, my general savings, money that I would make off YouTube, things like that. And that money immediately just went to a fucking escrow account. I ended up getting that home, but it was not only one of the most stressful things, but it really was the big moment in my life where I really felt blessed and thankful because I was in a situation where I could at least get the house. There's a lot of my friends who just have given that up because it's just, even if you're a specialist, it's fucking expensive. Now, again, the thing about homeowner associations is when you're buying a home, you can just choose not to buy in an HOA. And there's the argument for an HOA is always but what if you live in a gated community? You have to pay a security guy, the gardeners and everything. And I'm sure, I guess that makes some sense. But when it comes to the condominium that George is talking about, that is the more realistic option of owning a property, right? Or owning some home. Condos are significantly less than a house, and it's not so much common in Canada that you have to deal with HOAs, but if you've ever lived in America, you probably had to at least encounter an HOA, especially when you're getting a fucking condo like this. So they have HOAs for obviously paying for, I guess, building maintenance and people who are working the front desk, so to speak, salaries and shit, and other expenses. But the amount of predatory expenses they're putting on it is just astronomically insane. But that's the other thing about HOAs. You basically are buying a property that is governed by somebody else. If you fail to play along with your HOA or do any of their bullshit, I believe they can put a fucking lien on your house and property, which is insane, okay? You basically are reminded every day that you don't actually own your home. I mean, seriously, even though that I bought my house, if I just stop paying fucking property taxes or anything, good luck owning the rest of your house. You are always paying off somebody in perpetuity, okay? Honest to God, the collapse, okay, the revolution, the fucking... None of that can't come sooner enough, okay? Now, obviously, I'm not somebody that's super, like, you know, I don't have, like, this hard stance on, like, landowners, like, we have to eat the capital class or something like that. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but there's a lot of differences between somebody that, you know, fucking buys a home, and then, like, maybe down the road, you know, they buy another home, all right, when they can put it, when they've made enough money, maybe they don't buy anything really else, it's just a, you know, late life investment for them. Or somebody doesn't want to sell a house in a really shitty market. Like, you wouldn't force a bad financial decision on somebody. Like, something that you wouldn't do yourself, you wouldn't force on anyone else. But there's a big difference between all I just said and then assholes that buy like 20, 30 units of an apartment. There are actually people, and we call them STR investors, short-term rental investors, where they buy units of a home. Now, if you don't know anything about HOAs, they are not a democracy, okay? You actually, unironically, get more power with the more units you own. So let's say we owned, I don't know, like a building of 30 units, right? I bought 20 units, and let's say, you know, you and 10 other people, or 9 other people bought the other units. So you guys represent one vote. Now, because I'm just one guy, but I own 20 of the units, I basically get to decide for everybody, all right? So realistically, in this situation, like, there are kings, there are gods, and there are clods. Okay, when you're in the homeowning game, it's some people who have become gods can very easily rule over the clods. Okay, and again, I don't think homes should really be like that. Like, a home at the end of the day should be like a residence. I'm not gonna sit here and say like everyone is entitled to a free home or some shit like that. Okay, that's not a realistic life goal. But I think that, you know, affording a home or buying a home shouldn't be like a fucking it shouldn't be like a difficult task. Shouldn't be something that is impossible for most people, all right? Especially younger individuals, okay? Somebody who's coming into a level of adulthood, you know, somebody that's went to college that's already fucked him in the ass already, okay, with like exorbitant tuition fees. Somebody that gets into the workplace and starts off not making a shit ton of money, and then immediately on top of that, like, you know, just the thought of owning a home is immediately, it'll forever be impossible. That's insanity to me. And again, I know this is a big rant and everything, and I kind of yapped a little bit more than I needed to, but I had to get my entire words out because just the reality of this situation and how it, like, affects people like this. And again, George is just one person. George is actually lucky. Like, his building, like, residents are lucky that he is a, you know, loved YouTuber, because at least he was able to speak about this, because this story happens pretty much everywhere. It really does. Even in cities where like Airbnbs and shit like this is banned, there's still so many people that find ways around like laws that we make, or provincial laws or federal laws or state laws, that they just do this kind, and they basically just keep like thumbing, they keep basically like putting these people underneath like their feet the entire time. It's actually some of the most disgusting shit that I've ever seen. And it's crazy how, like, you know, you have to go to the news and you kind of have to talk about it. Like, here's George right over here. He's basically discussing this entire story to, like, the goddamn news. He's trying to explain how they're turning his fucking residence into an unofficial hotel. And here's the thing, it wouldn't even be like the craziest thing ever if A, they weren't allegedly charging him for no reason, but then also allegedly not have, like, the fact that Gore and threats showed up as soon as he conveniently started publicly talking about this is incredibly suspect. And it's one of those things that really makes you think a lot. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about it because this is one of the wildest things that I've ever seen. And the thing about it is, like, when I talk about the scariest shit human beings, or the scariest stuff I've ever seen, it's not ghosts, it's not monsters, it's not aliens, you know, it's not the boogeyman. It's what human beings are able to do to each other. Just for the sake of earning a few more bucks. Like, especially for the people that are allegedly involved in here, the HOA. I guarantee you some of the investors over there never have to worry about a dime in their life. But they also do not think, at least at all, about the people who live amongst them. that literally are just trying to make ends meet. Okay, like it's just difficult to like people like in that area are just living paycheck to paycheck. And even in that case, you just still don't have the sympathy to let them live instead of ruining the little tiny bit of peace they have, the square footage of place that they have to rest their mind. You still want to fucking ass fucking in every way. It's insane. But yeah, I wanted to talk about it because I feel like it was good to raise awareness for this. And honestly, I don't think that George really needs extra awareness, but anything kind of helps. Okay, you know, I talked about things like stop killing games, but let's just stop killing our fellow man, dude. Like honestly.
Yeah, we treat each other like garbage. It sucks.
Fuck Airbnb, bro.
We're not each other's target. We shame for the stars.
Today we're joined by this guy.
In fact, I'm under the opinion that nothing less than an expiration date on the box or the store page or something would wake people up. See, right now it's in order to reverse engineer a server emulator. I mean, I feel like the people who do that are like Einstein's in a straitjacket trying to get themselves out to write an equation. I mean, it's just so hostile for trying to do it. But if they had all this documentation about how networking protocols work, and that would go a long way.
Ross Scott of the Cursed Forums, who's spearheading the Stop Killing Games initiative, which aims to protect consumers' rights to play video games even after a publisher decides to stop supporting it. The point being that once you've spent money on something, you should have some level of ownership or expectancy that you'll be able to use that thing that you bought. And Ross said in our interview and discussion today that he thinks...
I think it's the front lines.
And we agree with him. This is sort of the front lines of the gentrification discussion, where the things you own are becoming less yours, and they're more prone to just disappearing at some point, even if you spent money on them, and in ways that are less clear than the traditional subscription service approach, where at least that's very clear what your usage lifetime is. Currently, there's a powerful movement for a direct democracy citizens initiative in the EU to make this happen, and if it gets 1 million signatures, Ross says he feels pretty good about the chances.
This one, the European Citizens Initiative, I really think, I would bet money that we win if we can get the signatures. Because, again, everything's kind of aligned for this. And for anyone who's not in the EU, like, USA or Canada, I think if this passed, I think it's incredibly likely you would all get the benefits downstream.
And we'll link that form below. There's also an action in the UK that requires 100,000 signatures, also linked below for those of you in the UK. And today we're talking with Ross about the current status of Stop Killing Games, what happens next, what happens if the 1 million signatures are achieved, and hopefully they are. It's possible right now. If enough people get involved, it actually can happen. And he also talks about why he thinks this is a potential proving ground for things like ownership of digitally made content and products, and what happens next. And we'll also talk about how you can help the most effectively by speaking with Ross about what those options are. Let's get into it. This GNCA video is brought to you by us and our honeypot t-shirts for charity. The honeypot t-shirt features a custom foil design with a smashed shiny honeypot on the front, with the back featuring a GM logo with a bee flying away. Each shirt also comes with a trading card, ready to be played with a mechanic that grants treasure tokens to an opponent and then immediately takes them back, including my own flavor text that is written at the bottom. We're donating the profit from this shirt order to archive.org for its preservation of media and websites, the Cramden Institute for its e-waste recycling and its PC refurbishing and distribution programs, and the Public Interest Research Group for its support of consumer rights and warranty rights. Head over to store.texas.net to grab one today. And now we'll get straight to the interview. And remember, the links to those forms below, those are not the typical type of petition that goes nowhere and does nothing. These are actual legal processes in the UK and in the EU, and your signatures can actually help. But let's get to the discussion.
What's kind of the elevator pitch, top level, and then we'll branch into some of the technicals.
Most video games, you pay for them, bring them home, play them, and it's yours, effectively. There's rights issues, but if you bought a game, I think even as far back as the 70s with like Atari or something, if you kept the equipment in good shape, it still works. And even online multiplayer, especially like around 90s, where if you could connect to an IP address or IPX or something, if you didn't change things, they can still work. Obviously, most people did change things, but there's all sorts of situations in the community. So the industry has been kind of normalizing where you buy a game the same way as previous ones, you keep it, and then just at an undisclosed time period, they turn the server off, and because you have to connect to the publisher, the game's bricked. You can never run it again, and they keep your money though. So it's not like a service where, well, a few games are, like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, where they tell you exactly when your access ends. You know, you pay for a month, or pay for 6 months. Okay, and that's I want to say until about 2004, pretty much every single video game made was one of those two categories. Either you know how long it lasts, or you get to keep it and run it indefinitely. And this practice really take away the ownership, or effective ownership. It's threw me up the wall because that's led to more games effectively destroyed that you can never run again in any other practice. I mean, there's all sorts of obscure, games from, Commodore and Atari that we managed to preserve them one way or another, but meanwhile, we do black hole games starting from the mid-2000s up until now, and it's only getting worse. So and the thing about this is, unfortunately in the U.S., this is pretty locked down legally, but in many other countries, especially the EU, in Australia, this was never really tested legally. Companies just did it, and nobody really stopped them. And the laws were never really written for this kind of situation.
I think because it's about video games, it's easier for people to be dismissive of some of the concerns, especially if they're not really attached to games the same way. And I think the best kind of way I have to reframe why it's important is this is kind of an extension of you'll own nothing, and you'll be happy.
I think it's the front lines.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, a lot of, lawmakers or important people in general, you're right, they don't really, usually the only time video games come up are either whether
Violence.
targeting stuff to children that they're worried about, or families, where it might be running. That's pretty much it. So, I mean, I can understand that this does get passed over, but no, that is a theory I've heard, that this could be kind of testing grounds to see what people will tolerate. I think the best real-world example of what's happening in video games would be printers, where, you bought a printer, it works, but because the driver to connect to the server doesn't work, okay, now it's bricked, it doesn't work, even though...
DRM for printers.
Yeah, exactly. There's several cases of that. I think printers are the closest real-world object equivalent of what's going on.
I guess if you could briefly describe what point are you at in the process of Stop Killing Nations? This is an initiative where you're actually trying to go through the legal system and get something done.
Oh, yeah. We've done a lot of stuff because I tried to attack on all cylinders on this. So we did this in two basic ways. One was there was a perfect test case for this, a game called The Crew by Ubisoft, where they shut it down, and it just checked off every box for this being a good case for consumer agencies to look at. And we managed to get complaints on that filed in France, Germany, and Australia. We're still waiting on a decision, which is probably a good sign, because if we had no rights on this, then they could tell us that pretty quickly. We have lots of things underway with government or that we've exhausted. The other big way that we've been doing this is trying to propose law to governments on this through government petitions, where the big one now is the European Citizens Initiative. That's kind of the crown jewel of all this, where if we can get enough signatures on that, I think we end this. Now, the two ones we have active right now, European Citizens Initiative, which are open to anyone in the EU, or from any citizen of an EU country, doesn't matter where you live, but you have to be a citizen, and the UK. Our odds are worse in the UK, but it is an option. That they do have a process to bring it before Parliament.
And so these two things, so these are forms that people can sign. The EU Citizens Initiative is an actual EU process. Like, it's an actual legal process. and requires 1 million signatures with some sub-requirements that there needs to be a certain amount in different given countries. Currently, you're up at around 542,000 of the 1 million or so required. When you made your video, and I guess if you captured the footage a little before that, maybe.
Oh yeah!
Your screen capture had it at 453,000.
You're fucked.
So nearing another 100,000. So I guess first of all, for anyone in the audience who care about this issue, just pause right now, and I'll have the link in the description if you're in the UK. There's a separate link if you're in the EU. That's the one it sounds like the kind of big focus is on the Citizen Initiative. But yeah, I was looking into it, and there's sort of 6. Wikipedia lists 6 cases that have kind of gone through this process. There's some really serious things on this. Right to water, which I think the name's pretty self-explanatory.
Thankfully, I think we're beating that. That's the goal. I hope not. I hope not.
That would be a different concern. How did you find out about this process? Because I don't think this was your first avenue, right? This has been going for a while.
It was a long, winding road of researching options. We lost an entire month basically chasing down dead ends for this, where we would call agencies or volunteers would in those countries, and then we would just, from the same agency, we would get different answers. Some would say, well, no, you signed the license agreement, they can do whatever they want. Others say, well, no, I think that means they have to run it indefinitely. And one in Germany said there is no clear legal regulation on this. This does the ECC, the Consumer Network.
Yeah.
But it's all a blur in my head how many pages I've looked at trying to. It's like doing a 400 level college research paper project, or something like that. This is basically a mechanism for the citizenry to tell government, hey, we have a problem, please address this. And there's a lot of requirements to get it launched. Like you can't just put anything like everybody should have flying cars or something. That would get thrown out.
Heads up! Wish me luck. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I might win. We'll see. I got the nasty one. I get scared. I don't think you should. I don't think my mother should be alone. I don't think my mother should be alone, but I can't do anything about it. I can't force it on her, and it just overwhelms her. Wait, these things have a slow down ADS. Wow, like live? Wow, that's actually really cool. In an MMO, that's pretty cool. That is cool. One of the cooler things I've seen out of this game. Where was this guy? I know this guy is here. Where the fuck is he? So annoying. Oh, he brought one to me, which was nice of him. See if I can get another. What? How did his blowing up car turn into me dying? Jesus Christ. Well, okay. Okay. That kind of soured the game for me. I'm going to get off this now.
Directives that show they have the authority to act on that.
Okay, I'm done with this guy. It's weird that you're pitching me that.
BBC refused to livestream Kneecap's Glastonbury set, an unprecedented choice. So Helen from Wales took things into her own hands. Congrats to the BBC for managing to Streisand effect this thing into the stratosphere. somehow put this to rest. Here's another great example. This is a big story from today that I've been meaning to talk about. My boys, the Irish Kneecap group, was played to a massive Glastonbury crowd. It turns out when you tell a IRA group, okay, named after a practice of shooting collaborators of the British occupation in the knee, when you try to silence them,
I'll be right back.
Israel Free Palestine, okay, when you try to literally go after them, as when you actively go after all of their sold out concerts in their European tour and try to shut those concerts down, it turns out that only creates more support for them, okay? Wow, who would have thought? Especially because their position is literally the overwhelmingly popular position. Now, the BBC weirdly pulled away from the Kneecap live stream, as Coachella had done as well, okay? Remember, Kneecap did their first week at Coachella, and they were live streamed. That performance was live streamed. Kneecap's tent was changed during the second week, and they didn't live stream it. That's why I went to Coachella and I live streamed their performance, if you recall. Okay? And basically, what ended up happening was the BBC thought best to not show the Kneecap concert. So they instead showed Bob Vylan's concert that was playing at the same time. Well, it turns out there wasn't really a better concert to pull to if you wanted to, if you wanted to show how little support the Free Palestine movement was getting at Glastonbury. This is what happened.
Free, 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 free. Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF, 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 death, death to the IDF. Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, they were on before Kneecap on the same stage. So the BBC was showing this, and then they cut the program away from Kneecap. My bad. Brother, it's over. It's got the BBC logo. You got artists going, have you heard this one? Like, he just goes, yeah, you heard this. I gotta run it back. It's got the BBC logo in the corner. Beautiful.
Free, 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 free. Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF, death, death to the IDF, death, death to the IDF.
BBC logo in the corner. Cinema, Kino, okay? In hell.
Death to the IDF, death to the IDF.
I am so disappointed. I'm shaking my head viciously. For those of you at home that are simply listening and not paying close attention, I want to tell you what I'm doing physically right.
Beef jerky. I'm having beef jerky and 5 taquitos.
Now I'm going not good. I'm finger wagging and my head is shaking. I'm going no. And of course, predictably, Avon and Somerset Police. We're aware of the comments made by the acts on the West Hall stage at Glastonbury Festival this afternoon. Video evidence will be assessed by officers to determine whether any offences may have been committed that would require a criminal investigation. That's right, Kinel. Do you got a licence for that? Do you got a licence to say to the IDF, sir? Kinel, disavow, not allowed. Calling the Met on Bob Vylan from an Iggy Pop gig, incredible scenes. My sister had the misfortune of seeing him as a support act for Iggy Pop a month ago. He was absolutely vile. She's put a complaint into the Met Police about him, but nothing as of yet. Hysterical. Yeah, but have you heard this one, though? Is so nutty. is so nutty, okay? I had not heard that one. I will admit, I've been to many pro-Palestinian rallies. I've spoken at marches. That one I had not heard before. He actually surprised me. When I saw that this morning, I lost my mind. Okay? Yeah, this is a really funny thing that also took place. So here's Mike Isaac from New York Times tech reporter Mike. BBC refused to livestream Kneecap's Glastonbury set, an unprecedented choice. So Helen from Wales took things into her own hands. Congrats to the BBC for managing to Streisand effect this thing into the stratosphere. What ended up happening is Helen from Wales held her phone for an hour to livestream Kneecap. She says she thinks it was important and got 1.7 million likes.
Oh my God.
All of us here at Glastonbury. The funny thing is, I'll just stand here a minute. I think I've got a burn on my finger from holding my phone, which overheated. I got my battery pack here. That sort of saved the day. If you enjoyed the video and you were grateful, please just give me a follow. I've got lots of important things to say. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you've appreciated.
Go Helen's healing journey.
On our TikTok vid, this is piracy. You shouldn't condone it. I mean, technically, I did the same thing. No, Bob Dylan at the concert also said this. What? What is happening? What is happening in
It's
England?
like a.
What is this?
What is this?
Bro,
Yeah.
you got white ladies going, heard you want your country back, shut the up. What is going on, brother? Oh my Lord. The sun came out and things go mad over there. Yeah, British people see the sun one time and they're talking about global jihad. Yo, my bad, British people. I didn't know it was like that.
Heard you want your country back. Oh, shut up. Heard you want your country back. You can't have that.
What?
Stolen right under my nose. My ignorant scum. Trying to lay claim to a land that ain't theirs anyway.
It's like a bad Rage Against the Machine. Ugh.
That's crazy. That's so sick.
Well, shit, me too. I want you back. You want your back. Shut up. You want your back. You want your country back. God has that. You want your country back. You want your country back. Shut up. You want your country back.
How's this music?
Dude, I can't wait for the liberal optics enjoyers to be like, sir, this is really going to scare a bunch of white supremacists. You shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be saying that. Why would you say that? This is going to make people scared. And it's like, meanwhile, it's making you scared.
It's making you scared.
You also don't agree with this sentiment. You also agree with the white nationalist. And you also want him to shut up for that same reason, but you're too embarrassed to admit that is the actual position that you hold because you don't want to look like the toothless inbred England Defense League freaks, you know? Dude, this demographic is something that I have not ever seen in my life.
Nope.
I didn't know Glastonbury was like that, but this is all like if I saw this crowd, I would be a little bit afraid. You know what I mean? Like this crowd invites. Like if I saw this crowd, I would assume falsely that this is like a bunch of gammons. You know, I'm wrong. I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong. Like this is a U2 crowd. You know what I mean? There's like too many gray hair people in there. It turns out these guys are all crazy. White people, I wasn't familiar with your game. Yeah, I didn't realize it was really white boy. It was really white boy jihad summer, like straight up. Here's another piece from the Kneecap concert.
Anybody going to Rod Stewart tomorrow? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Did I miss something? I mean, the man's older than Israel. Fucking Google it. I'm on for that. Not the prod. I want to hear one thing. With this many people, this is the biggest crowd we have ever played in front. In front? Or behind? Or behind. So one time, let me hear everybody. How the fuck everybody do that?
That's sick. Another banger speech. And then
But I have an advice for young people in Europe. I know you want to free Palestine, you want to free Congo, you want to free Sudan.
The youngest son of Afrobeat pioneer and legend Fela Kuti.
You want to free Iran. There's a new one every week. Free Europe from right-wing extremism.
Please do.
Free Europe from fascism.
Please
Free
do.
Europe from racism. Free Europe from imperialism. When you do this job, as soon as you do this job, Gaza will be free. Congo will be free. Sudan will be free. Iran, forget about us. Don't worry about it. Free Europe.
Dude, I do think that this level of unprecedented, open, overt anti-militarism, anti-imperialism, anti-Zionist sentiment would not happen if people weren't so pissed off and frustrated with their own country's governments and
Yep.
their lack of interest.
Fuck the good old boys. I hope they die of old age.
In even doing right by their own citizens. I will say, it's like, it's years and years and years of austerity that have made people go, enough is enough. Why the
Fuck
fuck are you
these
spending all your
guys.
money killing brown people over there, killing black people over there, instead of, you know, fixing the potholes, fixing public transit. Kuti is not new to this. Look up his father, please. No, I know. Dude, listen, just because I don't listen to music doesn't mean that I don't know about Afrobeat, okay? Chill. Calm down. I'm a cultured individual. People are realizing that the lack of intervention tells people that genocide is necessary and they don't like it. The UK government condemned. The Culture Secretary has spoken to the BBC Director General to seek an urgent explanation about what due diligence is carried out ahead of the Bob Villain performance. Oh no! What the fat law Glastonbury has become a festival of hate today and descended into barbaric chants against Israel and the Jewish people. Glastonbury is a festival I once called home a dozen or so times. I made magazines on site. I led a team of scores of talented writers and photographers with the NME. I went as part of a team, BBC, as part of Billboard, and as part of Q, as part of Vulture. I grew up there. I am not just heartbroken. I am dismayed. I am disgusted. Emily Avis, you should go to Re'im and see what happened at a music festival in southern Israel on the 7th of October 2023. What happened to you, a Jew X? I'm E Fatlaw, and this is my take. A lot of yous are making fun of me for my natural, organic Middle Eastern accent. Everyone knows this is how people sound in the Levant. I'm E Fatlaw. The music festival thing that they did to Kneecap was also so funny because it's like, oh, dude, it's especially messed up that this music festival would say Free Palestine after what happened at Noah Music Festival. It's like, okay, well, it was like slammed in the ass cheeks of a concentration camp. You're not wrong. There were harrowing sights that came out of the Nova Music Festival, but like Palestinians are being ethnically cleansed in broad daylight. You know what I mean? People are going to eventually say, hey, this is really up. And they're going to say it everywhere. They're not just going to say it on television. They're not going to say it they're going to say it at music festivals too. Okay? Visegrad. Apart from chanting death to the IDF in front of 200,000 people at Glastonbury Festival, Bob Villain also complained about having been forced to work for Zionists at a record label early on in his career. The entire thing was broadcasted live by the BBC to millions of people. It's amazing.
One of the jobs that I did, I worked for a record label. It's funny because when I worked there, the boss of the record label, we would talk every so often, and he would speak very strongly about his support for Israel. Treading on that line, do you know what I mean? He was treading on that line. And then this letter, or this list of names came out recently of people trying to stop our mate's kneecap from performing here today. And who do I see on that list of names but that bald-headed cunt I used to fucking work for? So look, we've done it all right? From working in bars to working for Zionists. And if we can do this, I promise you, lot, you can do absolutely anything that you put your mind to. I'm telling you this, all right? Don't give up.
It's really funny. You know what it's like to be like, oh, you can't criticize Israel, October 7 happened? Is literally like saying you can't say America has no right to go to war and invade Iraq because 9/11 happened. Okay? It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Like, the tragedy of 9/11 pales in comparison to the metric ton of violence that we brought about this region unjustifiably. Okay? It is nothing in comparison to what America did in Afghanistan. It is nothing in
I
comparison
hated
to
the 9/11 Afghanistan thing. I hated it.
Okay?
Yep, suck my dick.
Except Americans do believe that? No, they don't. No, the average American doesn't believe that. You're wrong. The overwhelming majority of Americans at this point literally understand that, especially Iraq, was a major mistake. So no, I don't think that that's even the case. It took 20 years, and many Americans arrived at that position selfishly. Okay? Iraq was not a mistake, it was a lie. No, I know. It was death and destruction that was completely unacceptable, both on the verges of death and destruction in general, but also it was built around a lie. It was deliberate. It was a deliberate attempt. And there are still plenty of Americans who don't care about the death toll, but only cover this or only have the sentiment around how much money was wasted. You know what I mean? But the notion that people are pro-Iraq war is wrong. Donald Trump won against the Iraq war and won against Hillary Clinton. He literally used Hillary Clinton's support for the Iraq war as a major blunder. Trump that helped Trump win. What the? I don't want to watch this.
Neither do I.
If this was Glastonbury,
We're done now. I don't want to hear anything else he has to say. It was good enough right there. He was truthful, and that's what I need. Thank you, soft white underbelly.
Where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
I'm born and raised on the island of Maui in Hawaii.
Maui?
Yes, sir.
What was it like growing up there?
You know, I didn't realize how different it was from what we call the mainland until I moved out here. But I mean, very tight knit. You know, very tight knit.
Yeah, they don't like outsiders there, do they?
They don't like outsiders, and honestly, they don't even like each other. You know.
What was your childhood like?
My childhood had a lot of ups and downs. You know, I'd be lying if I said that it was the most worst childhood ever, but it was filled with a lot of trauma that has impacted me today and, you know, kind of guided me to become the man that I am and the decisions that I've made, you know? I grew up with a single mom. Pretty much she had me when she was 16 years old. My mom never had a problem with drugs or alcohol, but she had a problem with having an attraction to guys that were gangbanging, smoking dope, robbing houses, you know? And
she had a problem with men.
Huh?
She had a problem with men.
Yes, she did. And so, you know, that's how she met my father. They were never married or anything like that. And by the time she was pregnant, my dad was sent away, you know? But yeah, so 16 years old, she had me. And in the beginning of my life, it was kind of rough seeing her go through the whole dating scene. Like, I do remember a lot of things, her getting beat up and shit like that, you know? But
I can honestly say she did everything to make it work, you know? My grandparents played a big role in my life. They were there when, you know, my mom was working 2 jobs, or when she was off and wanted to go and party at the bar and shit like that, because she was still very young. I was always sent to my grandparents, you know? My mom eventually ended up getting pregnant when she was, I want to say, 17 going on 18 with my little sister. And, you know, my sister Shyla was born. She was born in June of 96. Yeah, and I was born September of 94. She actually ended up separating from her father, and in the midst of her separating from my sister's father, she started dating this guy named Peter Pasigan. And my mom was working 2 jobs. She was paying for him to go to college. She was doing his schoolwork, and all she asked in return is for him to watch us and take care of the whole housing situation, clean the house, do laundry, shit like that, you know? And little did she know that while she was dating him, he was putting us through sexual abuse. He was putting us through physical abuse, severe neglect, bringing around druggy friends that were smoking dope in the same room as me and my baby sister. And, you know, eventually one day, I don't know exactly what it was, bro, but he snapped. My mom was at work. She told me that, you know, when this happened, when she went to go to her second job at night, she told me that I was begging her not to go, you know? And she said I should have seen the signs, because that's not normal, you know? You were begging me not to go to work. And yeah, she went to work. It was Halloween night. She was working at Jack in the Box. And I don't know what it was. He must have got a bad batch or something like that, but he fucking snapped, dude. Couldn't get my sister to stop crying. So he picked her up by her feet and repeatedly smashed her head into the wall.
What?
Until she was not making any noise, movements, anything. And this happened right in front of me. I was 3 years old when this happened.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do vividly. I have a pretty bad PTSD from it.
Sure. 3 years old is probably an age where you can probably remember something that...
Yeah. I feel like the reason why I remember it is because it had such a big impact, you know?
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I remember playing with toys and shit when I was 3,
No,
but...
that's the kind of stuff you don't really remember.
Yeah, and, you know, before that happened, I do remember some of the things that he used to do to us. He used to make me swallow coins, and he would do that so that he could tell my mom, like, oh, you know, I caught him swallowing coins again, and then my mom would be upset at me. You know, we found out in the end, he told my mother that the reason why he killed my sister is because he couldn't stand how much she loved us, you know? So I feel like he had some sort of vengeance against us, you know, and we were just innocent little kids. He used to fill up the bathtub with scalding hot water, and he used to take me and my little sister's heads and put our heads underneath the water, and then lift us up and let us catch our breath and put our heads underneath the water, you know. And when I came out here to California, a lot of people are like, you're from Hawaii, dude, you must be a fucking surfer. And I'm like, dude, I hate the water, you know, like, never got into it, was always scared of it since then.
How old were you and your sister when he murdered her?
She was 1.5 years, 16 months exactly.
You were 3 or something.
Yeah, and I was 3 years old, yep. And, you know, the neighbors ended up hearing the noises.
I'm sorry, buddy. Abuse and problems happen, and I'm sorry this happened.
And called the police. And when the police came, he was acting shocked and told the police that I pushed my sister down the stairs.
Bullshit.
They needed to get in contact with my mother immediately because he's so worried about my sister, and he was giving her CPR and shit. And he turned his back for 1 second, and I pushed her down the stairs because she wasn't sharing one of my toys or some shit like that, you know? And, yeah, You know, they medevaced my sister to the main hospital that we have in Hawaii, which is on the island of Oahu.
Yeah, Oahu.
And
I lived in Hawaii for some years, like 2 years.
I think that it happened on October 31st, and the next day she was pronounced dead, bro. She was on like some hardcore heavy duty life preservative machines and stuff like that, but it didn't work, you know. By the time police got there, she had a fucking big ass hole in her head that was just mush. You know, it's very surprising that she wasn't dead on arrival.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it was messed up, man. It was really messed up. And you know, I kind of grew like desensitized to telling the story, you know? And I'll get to that like a little bit later on in life on why I became desensitized to telling it, but
yeah, I'm desensitized to telling my stories, which I've told you before. My stories aren't even nearly as bad as his. But I'm desensitized to telling my stories. You know,
like really thinking back about it and actually talking about it, like that had such a huge role on the person that I but the person that I became, you know, rebellious and stuff like that. FBI came in to do an investigation, and that's when we found out that I was being sexually assaulted as well as my sister, you know. My brain completely blocked that part out. I honestly can't tell you exactly what was going on, but he could
good.
Tell that.
It's not good. When they partition their mind, and that's what I'm going to say when I talk about this, partition their mind. I partition my mind to deal with a bunch of the problems that I've dealt with, but when you partition your mind like a fucking hard drive and you're like, here's the mind that deals with all the trauma, here's the mind that deals with the man beating you, here's the trauma of watching your mother be hurt. This is, you know, it's just insane. And
certain parts of our body had been fucked with, you know. When the FBI came in and did their investigation, they noticed that we had a 2-story apartment. So when you walked in, it was a very high ceilings. I don't know how they noticed it, but they noticed that there was a crack in our ceiling. And as they investigated it closer, they seen hair stuck in the cracks. And come to find out, what he would do is he would grab us and he would throw us as hard as he could into the air so that our heads would, boom, hit the ceiling like that whenever we were crying, because then it would knock us out. You know what I mean?
What?
And he got convicted of murdering your sister?
Yeah, so he got convicted of, I forget exactly what the charge is, but this is the worst part. I mean, he got convicted of pretty much murdering my sister, exactly that. When he got convicted and sentenced to prison, he patched up with a certain gang, and they protected him. When he went into prison, he started telling people that he murdered another guy, and that's why he was there. I don't know how they didn't check fucking paperwork or whatever, how it was back in the late 90s, but
they're in jail
through it like that. And
they're in jail, you idiot. And I'm sorry, I'm victim shaming here, but they're in fucking jail. You think they can Google somebody that they meet? You've been there before. I've been there before. My main problem with jail is I couldn't Google anybody.
You know, at 6 years of him serving prison time, because he was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 20 years. After 6 years of prison time, he was viewed as like a star inmate, I guess you could say. You know, like an inmate that abided by the rules, didn't cause any problems and stuff. And they pushed for early release on good behavior. Yeah.
You got only 6 years for
only 6 years serving time. So what had to happen was my mom had a lawyer, and her lawyer advised her that we go get a petition signed. So, you know, the island already is so small as it is, and, you know, God bless my mom having to relive this shit every year. But at
every year. God bless my mom.
Years when they wanted to give an early release, we had to go around the island, door to door, and tell the story over and over and over again until we got, I believe it was 1,000 signatures. So, you know, she had to relive that, tell the story over and over again. And then now, like, everybody knows what's going on, you know? And it was just messed up. So they denied his early release. And at 9 years, it came up, and we went.
Oh my God!
Again, we went to petition. We did the petition, got the same amount of signatures, but they released him.
Yeah.
So 9 years of prison time for murdering an infant. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the system. Yeah.
It is, you know, and it's very unfortunate that the system works like that out there in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's the system.
That's why you can talk about it so easily, because you've told the story 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yep. And, you know, it's just really unfortunate. So he had to abide by one rule. He was 86 from the state of Hawaii, not allowed back. He was to do his parole with his sister in Alaska, and he was never allowed to come back to the island. And just last year, my mom called me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." She's like, "I need you to sit down." She's fucking crying, frantic. I'm like, "What's going on?" She's all like, "Peter just got arrested on Oahu, and they called me because they gotta notify me when he gets arrested on island." Yep. She's like, "I don't know why the fuck he's back here in Hawaii, but he's not supposed to be." And that parole violation right there was supposed to be it. You fucked up on that, you're gone forever. They released him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
You think I hate the system for no reason? Yeah, this is what happened to a lot of my friends.
So he's a free man now?
Free man, you know? And that is,
God bless America.
God bless America, you know? That's one of the situations at which I wish Hawaii prison system
had a brain. Nope.
Had the same politics as California's prison system, you know? Because if he would have walked into California with that charge, he wouldn't have been able to serve those 9 years.
Because he'd be dead.
Yeah, they would have fucking killed him, you know? So anyways, I mean, you want me to move past that, keep going, telling you what's going on? Or?
Yeah, what's going on? What happened to your eye?
So with that, I was walking at, so we got one big mall on our island, and I was walking in the mall with my girlfriend, just a normal day, broad daylight, you know, spending time with my first girlfriend that I've ever had. I believe this is freshman year, freshman year, and I'm walking with her, holding her hand, and out of nowhere, I realized that I'm on the ground. My face is fucking hurting. I can't see out of my eye. My girlfriend's fucking screaming and crying. I see that there's blood all over the place.
What?
And come to find out, somebody from the rival gang of where my father is from wanted to get his hands on my father and couldn't. And ended up seeing me at the mall and fucking stabbed me in my face from behind. I believe he was 34 years old at the time. Yeah. So I got rushed to the hospital. They fucking did their best to like bandage up everything to stop the bleeding because I was bleeding profusely. And I got medevac to Queen Kapiolani, that's on Oahu.
Thank God for medevac and thank God for doctors.
Hospital. And they had to take out my eye. They had to cauterize some arteries that got, you know.
It's good though, it's good.
And shit like that.
Not good, but you know, at least they were able to help you. I have some
I mean, long story short, that guy ended up getting arrested that same very day. He wasn't able to run. And my father ended up crossing paths with him in prison and killing him. You know? It was just a really fucked up situation on me getting, like, how do I put it? Getting caught in crossfire.
Because you were like 14?
I was 14 years old. I was a fucking kid.
Freshman.
Yeah, you were a fucking kid.
Freshman. And I wasn't even into, like, gangbanging and shit at that time. I was still just, like, a normal kid. You know, at that age, like, I was racing motocross. Almost came professional.
Yeah, hells yeah!
17, that's
Woo!
Oily Designs himself personally. Came out to Maui, flew my family all around to race and shit. So I was a good kid, you know?
Until you lost your eye.
I lost my eye, and that made it very hard, man. Made it very hard because I started getting fucking bullied in school.
You couldn't do motocross.
I couldn't do motocross. I lost my depth perception. I could barely... I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn... like, everything. It was so fucking hard, man. It was really hard, you know? My mom was devastated. She was devastated and she was pissed, too, at the same time, you know? And she felt like it was her fault because, you know, not only did I not deserve that, but she felt like because that's who my dad was, she felt kind of guilty, you know, because, like, she should have protected me from that type of situation, but there's nothing that she could have done, you know? We didn't know that there was some sort of bullshit going on with him and people wanted to kill him. Like, I never kept in contact with my father while he was locked up, you know? So, yeah, I mean, my dad ended up getting paroled out. I mean, not paroled, my bad. My dad ended up maxing out when I turned 19. So right before I turned 19, my dad ended up maxing out. By the age of 19, I'm in rehab for the first time. I entered rehab at 18 years old.
I entered rehab at the age of 17.
In crystal meth and island. By the age of 19, I'm in rehab for the first
I was in rehab at the age of 17.
time.
West Denver for evading the cops and possession of a felony Class A substance, ecstasy, and I really don't like the police.
I entered rehab at 18 years old. I was homeless on the island. I had a problem with...
I was homeless on the island, too.
So meth. And, yeah,
I left the island, you know, Honolulu, or I'm sorry, Maui. I lived on Maui and right before it burned in Lahaina. And as it burned, I like began to understand that I wasn't going to be able to make it unless I looked out for myself.
Heading down a really bad path really fast.
Yeah, I was like, my family, they don't give a shit that I'm in Hawaii dying. My friends, they don't give a shit that I'm in Hawaii dying. My fucking girlfriend, she cares, but she doesn't have any money.
I was smoking oxys. That's when the oxy 30s...
Yeah, I would smoke oxys. Yeah. Yep. I love smoking oxys, actually. I would do it right now if I had it. I love smoking oxys.
You know, that whole epidemic hit and the painkillers was coming out. This is in 2012.
Yeah, it was like 2010. Yep.
Oh.
And like all the fucking, like my source, it wasn't some drug dealer. It was the rich people's hotel rooms that I cleaned. And I would clean sometimes between 10 and 15 hotel rooms a day. And I did this for 2 years. And at the end of it, they ask you, they're like, are you alive? Are you with us? You know, are you awake? Are you breathing? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm here. Take me home. And then I do the 2 hour and 45-minute ride home. I talked to my girlfriend for 2 hours and 45 minutes from pretty much, 9 o'clock until 12 or 1 in the morning or something like that. Then I go back to work the next day from 1 in the morning. I go to bed somewhere around 12:45, 1 in the morning. And then I would get up and go to work at 6:45. So, if you can get by on 5 hours of sleep, you can be in the lower class. And I'm sorry to put it like this, but I mean this. If you can get by on 5 hours of sleep after you just drank an entire bottle of goddamn vodka and smoked your way into some kind of fucking sexual tryst or something like this, it doesn't matter. You're still fucked up. You can't actually do it.
And I got put on probation for my first charge, which was assault of a family household member. I got into a fight with somebody from my family at home.
DV isn't good.
I couldn't stop smoking dope.
Yeah, I couldn't stop smoking dope. Yeah.
I had to go to rehab because my probation officer was going to violate me.
Yeah, I couldn't stop smoking dope either. Yeah.
To rehab, my dad paroled out.
I can't really explain it, but I was just like, I'll take meth over you pieces of shit who have turned your fucking back on me.
Thought it would be a good idea for...
I don't like talking about this, but yeah, I would take... And this still stands, by the way, to this motherfucking day. To this motherfucking day. I would rather smoke meth than deal with my own goddamn streamer chat.
My 19th birthday, to bring him up to the rehab, to see me and stuff like that.
I had some friends who had put each other in jail there in Wyoming, in Casper, and they hated each other, but that was B's best friend. And you remember B, that's the girl that I fucking, I proposed to marry and I really loved, and that was my best friend for a long time. She was my best friend, excuse me. And, when it came down to it, she was forced to bear witness against her friends about how bad their lifestyles were, and she wouldn't do it, and neither will I. I actually won't do it. I'd be like, yeah, maybe that couple's kids is not doing so good, but that's, at least they care. At least they fucking care. If you've been there, past the age of 24 or something like that, and I'm going to tell you, this is probably one of the most fucking powerful things I can ever relate to you. Past the age of 24, the only people that care about you is your fucking family. Your friends and all those people that you hung out in high school that you think you're tight with, they're going to fucking drop you the minute that they realize that you either don't have as much money as them or aren't the same as them. Now, I was guilty of both. I'm not the same as them, and I don't have as much money as them. So several times in the last 4 or 5 days, as I spoke to my mother, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're talking like I have some kind of $200 solution. But no, motherfucker, I don't have any money. I've not had any money since I was 16 years old. The baby boomers, they think that we're selfish and we do drugs and it's our fault and we're just a bunch of deadbeat motherfucking, whatever, welfare queens or kings. But the real truth is, nobody really had a reason to ever earn any of that. And I'll tell you very clearly, nobody had a reason to ever go earn any of that besides passing their genes on. I don't really want to pass my genes on. I've got an asshole father and a mother who doesn't really care. She cares, and she's the most beautiful person you'll ever meet, but she doesn't really care if they kill your job, if they make it impossible for you to grow, if they gouge your eye out or throw you in the back of a fucking paddy wagon with broken ribs. She doesn't care about that stuff because she wasn't there. This is one of the reasons why I really don't like Democrats, and I think right-wingers should pretty much face the same treatment that Jews did in World War II. But I mean, you know, sometimes the leftists really get to me because, baby, I'm an anarchist. You're a spineless liberal. And I said what I meant to say here. Baby, I'm an anarchist. You're a fucking spineless liberal. And as they came for your son and your fucking husband, and they stole all your money, and they shut out the world with their fucking banks, and they stole the fucking government with their right-wing piece of shit MAGA fucking backstabbing, and then they sell the highest story on motherfucking ABC and CBC and NBC, all this shit about how this guy doesn't have an eye. And I'm not supposed to blame capitalism.
Help, like, not help, but celebrate it with me, you know?
I will. I'll celebrate it with you, sir. I don't know you, but I'll celebrate this with you. I think what you got is kind of light compared to people who actually work with these people.
So I seen my dad for the first time, especially as a man, you know?
Yeah, I saw my dad for the first time when I was like 9 years old. And then last time I saw him was like 14.
I only seen him over like video screens that the church.
Yeah, like, and they think that this is normal, that he's just an asshole and you got to deal with this. But it's like, nah, motherfucker, I've seen my father, like, I don't know, for the first 10 years of my life. And then in a couple of photos afterwards. How am I supposed to fucking respond to that? My answer is, I don't know, and I don't hate you. But if you wanted me to ever suffer because I did drugs, that's like wanting me to suffer every time one of your husbands died or was abusive. It's kind of insane. Like your lack of empathy over my drug addictions and my lack of empathy over the fucking men who abused you are kind of equal, because I wouldn't wish those things on you. And I would wish those things on me, but they still happened. Now I can talk freely about this, but it doesn't really help the situation. I'm going to tell you what I think about this fucking situation. You're not going to fucking like it. I don't like it either. I get told to shut the fuck up all the goddamn fucking time. All the goddamn fucking time. I get told to shut the fuck up all the goddamn time. So here's me doing it, motherfucker. Let's see how you like it.
Church would do back then when we would do calls to prison and shit. And
yeah, I got called to go to prison one time because I was moving a mattress in a fucking alley with my best friend, or one of my best friends, like LJ. And they rolled me, fucked me, spread me, destroyed me for 15 months, and only about 3 people cared that happened to me. And so when I lost my 750-man Facebook, I really didn't care, because I knew that I only really have like 3 or 4 friends or something like that. You ever been set against? I never actually broke a law. I've broken the laws, but I've never actually harmed anybody. I've broken laws, but I've never actually, like, okay, I go out to my fucking bathroom every single fucking day, and I look at the wasp nest that is brewing in my government and in my bathroom. a wasp nest full of nasty yellow jackets and fucking wasps, you know? And the wasps, they don't do anything to me because they know that they're gonna kill me with their fucking toxicity. And I don't do anything to them because I professed all my life that I never killed anything. And the wasps look at me, and I look at the wasps, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I hope you fucking die of old age.
I remember specifically this day because he was walking down from the parking lot to where I was sitting on the table where
Yeah, I didn't have that. My father left when I was like 12 and a half years old, and then nothing for 40 years. 30 years, 30 years. I don't have a lot of sympathy for that, you understand, as a judge or a fellow criminal or somebody who wishes to empathize with you. When you talk about your fucking father, I don't have a lot of fucking sympathy. If you put your fucking faith in your fucking father, you're a fucking idiot.
Visitations at this rehab.
And I feel this way about myself. It's one of the reasons I've never had kids. Is like, yeah, if I had kids, I know there will be one of those kids will fucking hate the fact that I'm alive. You know, not because I've ever done anything bad. I've actually never harmed a living thing, and I've stolen money from people who had credit card numbers who I didn't know who they were. But like I've never actually gone out of my way to harm my community in any way or form. They've only ever put that on me. So now, and I'll be very clear about this, I wish death upon my own government. I wish death upon my own system. I wish death upon all the local cops and all the local police. And I wish death upon the people who ruined my goddamn life. Now my mother and all the people and all the other people around me, they don't want to hear that. But it doesn't matter. They weren't fucked like I was. You understand? So I go talking about reality. Nobody wants to hear it. And I find solace in the one-eyed man as he tells me that they rape you for your goddamn eye hole. I guarantee they do. They're human beings, from my mother on down to my fucking family and everybody, all my friends and everybody that I know. You guys hated me for being the weakest piece of shit that you ever met. But I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. The fucking glass house that you pieces of shit live in is so much worse than Guantanamo torture. And you think I'm you think I'm kidding, or I'm making some kind of thing so I can sell something to your piece of shit friends who watch all of your fucking television channels and all that music that you listen to and all the people that you respect because they're rich and all this stupid ass shit. This goes out to anybody who isn't rich, who didn't swallow the money, who didn't swallow the pomegranate seeds of the fucking death gods. I'm standing here with you. It doesn't matter what drugs I smoke. It doesn't matter what girls I've been with. It doesn't matter what marriage I've done. It doesn't matter how much money I made. The rest of the fucking piece of shit humanity is so much worse than us that I don't really propose killing them. I just say don't ever give them any power ever again. And I mean the people that built the American government, the people that built the British government, the people that built the Indian government, the people that built the Chinese government, the people that built the North Korean government, the people that built the American government, the people that are a Republican Party, the people that are a Democratic Party, the people that fucking killed my family, the doctors that killed my family, the people that fucking killed my fucking family and shit. They need to suck on the dick of progress and fucking die a death of old age. And you think I'm fucking kidding. I pray with all my heart and all my soul and all the power of the sun and all the power of the fucking moon. I pray all the power of the fucking planet Earth and all the deities that mankind has ever had an encounter with. I pray with all the power and all the fucking praise of every bit of humanity that's ever lived that these pieces of shit get what they're fucking deserve. That these pieces of shit get what the fuck they deserve. I swear to God. And I don't wish violence on them or poverty or sorrow like they did to us. Like my father beat me. Like my fucking stepfather threatened to beat me. Like my fucking family abandoned me in the darkest ghetto in the west side of goddamn Denver for 7 years and shit. We can go on and pretend like that shit didn't happen, but it absolutely the fuck did. And I can stand with my stepfather. And I can say your greed and your Democrat and your Republican leadership and your fucking greed is the goddamn dirty evil empire of Star Wars. And you can go pretend that the money makes you different because you have it, but it doesn't fucking matter. Your worthless piece of shit ass generation fucked me over and fuck everybody else that I know. You fucked everybody else that I know. Watch the Trailer Park Boys. If you don't really understand it, watch the people that help you in your weakest moments, and you'll fucking understand how bad it's been to live with the piece of shit oligarchy fucking thievery corporation tools who put hundreds of thousands of dollars above their own fucking family. Piece of shit goddamn cocksuckers. Hope they fucking die of old age. Hope they die of old age.
Aloha House, and he had his arm around my mom.
Yeah, he had his arm. I remember when there was men in my mother's age that threw televisions at my goddamn mother. Now, this reality, it might seem to you, oh, he's crazy, he's unhinged, why is he talking about this? All the men who abused his mother. And I think, oh my God, you're a fucking piece of shit, backstabbing traitor, piece of shit, MAGA cocksucker, if you're not worried about what happened to your fucking mother in the last 100 years. You're a goddamn worthless right-wing goddamn right-wing worthless cocksucker. And you brought the goddamn fucking sexism, the goddamn fucking classism, and the goddamn fucking religion problems that killed our known world. And you can rest peace in your fucking funeral home as they worship your flesh and they talk about how beautiful you were. But I really don't fucking like any of you. You can suck a big fat... You can suck God's big fat dick. You understand? I really don't like any of you. You understand? Any of you. Any of them. From my family, to my friends, to my fucking band, to my fucking band's relations. It doesn't really matter. I don't really like any of you. You fucking pieces of shit. Prove to the world that all of the pieces of shit in the fucking world are goddamn Scrooge McDuck pieces of shit who killed the world. And so as the Scrooge McDucks fuck the world to the fucking death, and you think I'm fucking kidding? Nah, the Scrooge McDucks are fucking the goddamn world to death, and it is my family.
And stuff.
You'll understand why I don't have an eye anymore. It's why I don't have a name anymore. It's why I don't have a girlfriend anymore, or a wife anymore, or a family anymore, or anything else. The greed killed everything and everyone that I fucking know. Fuck them and their stupid, worthless piece of shit asses. From my family to everybody that I know. The fucking greed killed all of them. And I'm the only one with a fucking clean soul left, and they can take my dick and they can suck on it. See it? From my family on down to everybody I ever met, they're all goddamn whores. Goddamn whores. And they can suck a goddamn dick if they think I actually fucking care. I'll make the movements that your piece of shit fascist society tells me to make. But I'll still call you a fascist, you piece of shit fascist cocksuckers, as you kill everything that I know and love.
like that, and we greeted each other, and we sat down, and I told him.
I sat down and I told him, hey, I really love you, and I need you to stick around. What are you gonna do?
Look, Dad, I just gotta tell you straight up, I'm not okay with you putting your arm.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay with you. I'm not okay with my father. I'm not okay with my mother. I'm not okay with my government. I'm not okay with my religious movement. I'm not okay with my best friends. I'm not okay with my family. I'm not okay with anybody at all. You understand? And we can pretend like we are, and your piece of shit Caucasian dick sucker fucking F it world, you can pretend that everything is okay, but it's not okay. It's not okay, and it's not okay because of you. You stole all the money in the goddamn world. As I witness you do it right in person, I think, oh, Jesus Christ, the humanity is dead. And I think, oh, Noah's Ark couldn't cleanse all the sins that you pieces of shit have committed, you fucking shitheads. And I think, oh, God will sort you out. You know, God, like, kill them all, let God sort them out or whatever, you know? And at that point, I find more solace in a one-eyed man's story that I've never met than my entire family history.
They're going to get together, because that's not going to happen. And right there, the whole situation flipped. He looked at me in my face and he said, you think you can disrespect me like that?
Yeah, I think I can. I can disrespect everybody in this motherfucking culture. Not a single one is goddamn aware of how bad it's got. And I can disrespect every single ass motherfucker in the goddamn culture. Y'all retards can suck each other's dick until you die. I'm gone. Peace.
Just because you're my son? He said, tonight I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna put a fucking bullet in your head. And he walked away. So the beginning of my relationship with my father was not good at all. Nope. You know? Yeah. Not good at all. Is it cool if I hit this?
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
That was what age?
That was 18 turning 19.
And you are how old now?
Huh?
How old are you now?
I'm 18. Oh, right now I'm 30. I just turned 30 in September last year.
You came to California when?
I came to California when I was 20, turning 21. And I've been kind of stuck out here ever since. I came out here to try and get away from the island, get away from the relationships that I had out there, because they were very toxic, and the drug use, you know. While coming out here and doing that, I ended up making friends in treatment who are from California, who could get their hands on drugs that were wasted.
Now, I wish to speak. All these goddamn piece of shit fucking efforts who ruined our government, stole all our money, drove our government into the goddamn ground, and fight with each other since World War I. Piece of shit, goddamn brain dead fucking morons like the software developers. You know, I could speak differently, but I won't. Not when I'm actually here. You know, no. And I hate them, but I understand that I'm lower than them. So when I look upwards as a weed at these plants who stole the sun from me, I think about how much I wish to kill you. And by you, I mean anybody who can't form a cognizant thought.
Stronger, for way cheaper. Everything's so expensive.
This man can form a cognizant thought, so I value him. I don't really value a lot of other life, and it's fucked up, particularly because I've never been shown that. Now, I live on the government's dime, and you can abandon me and fuck me and screw me out, but it won't change how loud I am. And I don't care what people think. I don't care if they listen to me. I don't care if they pay me money. It doesn't actually matter to me. My real issue is you guys kind of fucked us. And we kind of treated you like you were our parents and our family, and you're a valued member of goddamn society. But I really hate you. Yeah, and I try to hide it all the time. But I really hate you, you know? From my parents to the fucking prison industrial complex, the system, the music, the oligarchs, all the goddamn pieces of shit who ruined my goddamn life. I love them so much. Let me tell you how much I love them. Let me count the ways.
Back home in the islands, you know?
And yeah, I do know. I've messed with drug currency. I've messed with prostitution. I've messed with pimping. I've messed with goddamn drugs. I've messed with selling weed. I've sold people's credit cards. I've stolen credit cards. I've done everything there is to do. And I still feel so much morally better than everybody else in my fucking society that I wish that they all kind of died. And I begin to understand the genocide thing. I have so much more moral fiber than most of the rest of the goddamn people around me, and I can show you all the goddamn proof if you'd like. I have so much more moral fiber than everybody else goddamn combined that I kind of wish for the death of the human race. Now, you might not like that. I don't like it. I've never harmed a living thing in my entire life, but I do wish death to the entire goddamn human race because it would be a surcease of pain for all of the human race. I'm going to stop this video now. I don't wish to be published recording such thoughts unless the piece of shit fucking effort monkeys fucking fuck with me so bad that I make a fucking statement. I really have no wish to do it.